5 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories this Monday morning. And yes, it's summertime, so it's going to be hot today. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, police are investigating after a random stabbing attack on a man pumping gas at the Exxon gas station along Smith Springs Road near Percy Priest Lake. Customers telling Channel 4 they can't believe it.
It's absolutely insane to think that, you just pumping your gas and somebody could walk out of the woods and stab you for no reason with no provocation. It's just, that's pretty insane to hear that happened here.
Yeah, the victim says he was just simply pumping his gas on Thursday when a man came out of the woods, started stabbing him with a knife for no reason. Says he doesn't know the suspect. He suffered at least 5 jabs to his head and neck. Right now in South Korea, officials hit the scene where 16 people were killed when a fire broke out this morning at a lithium battery factory just south of Seoul. And back over here, election 2024, while President Biden's practicing for Thursday's debate, First Lady Jill Biden's campaigning.
Women put Joe Biden in the White House. Hey, and women are going to keep him there.
President Biden, meanwhile, holed up at Camp David preparing for Thursday's debate. As for the former president, Mary Alice Parks.
With the first presidential debate just 4 days away, former President Donald Trump asking his crowd in Philadelphia for strategy advice.
Should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history? Or should I be nice and calm and let him speak?
Trump now saying that his VP pick will most likely be at the debate.
Make sure you join WTN for the big debate everybody's talking about Thursday. WTN's presidential debate watch party is at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro from 3 to 8. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Here's Daria Albinger.
We'll get a look into the housing sector to finish out the month of June. It starts on Tuesday with the S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index. It measures what you'd pay in 20 major metropolitan areas. It's going to be followed by new home sales on Wednesday and pending home sales on Thursday. Last week's data shows rising mortgage rates and high prices are still keeping a lot of would-be buyers on the sidelines at what's usually the peak of real estate season. So how are you feeling about the economy? We'll get a look into what Americans are thinking with a consumer confidence index on Tuesday and consumer sentiment on Friday. The jobless claims report will be released on Thursday. Last week, the number of Americans who filed for first-time benefits fell by 5,000 the previous week. That's down from a 10-month high, but it isn't as much of a drop as economists had expected. At the close on Friday, the Dow was up, the NASDAQ and the S&P down.
All right, let's check futures ahead of this morning's opening bell on Wall Street. Dow futures up 118, S&P up 4, NASDAQ down 20. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Information fueled.
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. It is Monday, June 24th. And did you see what happened in Los Angeles over the weekend? I am so glad that I'm out of Southern California, but this is everywhere. And so y'all know what is going on with all of these folks regarding Palestine, free Palestine, and all of this nonsense. It is getting uglier and uglier and uglier because you had a bunch of Jewish folks who were getting ready to go to synagogue. And who was there to meet them? Who do you think was there to meet them over the weekend? They're heading to synagogue, and you had a lot of these pro-Hamas protesters who were blocking their way into the synagogue, and they started attacking the Jewish people going into or trying to go into the synagogue. That is the sound of a woman getting beaten. She's in a headlock, and she's getting beaten by some pro-Hamas protester. It is really ugly. And so you've got hundreds of people that are out there, and they've got their pro-Palestinian flags chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Again, one scene does show a woman getting beaten up and put in a headlock by some guy. It is insanity. And so you've got cops that are showing up in riot gear. They actually, listen to how horrific this is. The cops show up, and again, yes, they are in riot gear, and they show up and they arrest a couple partaking in all of this nonsense, these attacks on these Jewish folks just trying to go to a synagogue. And in the back seat is a toddler wearing one of these keffiyehs. A toddler, like what, 3, 4, 5 years old? In the back seat, they got arrested. So if you wonder how this stuff is generational, well, that is exactly how it goes. Now, this rabbi, he was there, obviously, for everything, and he was as horrified as everybody else around Los Angeles.
It doesn't belong here. I don't think the Jewish people will go in front of a mosque, or Christian people go in front of a mosque to do such a thing. Nobody will accept this, but here, when it comes to Jews and Israel, everything is kosher, everything is okay.
Yeah, I mean, you heard what he said, right? He is right. You wouldn't see a bunch of Jewish folks or a bunch of Christian folks going to a mosque and doing this kind of thing. We wouldn't, because we believe in freedom. We believe in America. But these pro-Palestinian people, they do, and they get away with it. And that is part of what is so infuriating. Obviously, they should be arrested. They should be charged with hate crimes, to be honest. I mean, why wouldn't they? The only reason they're going after these Jewish folks is because, well, yes, they're Jewish, and they're in front of a synagogue. And they're chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, which obviously everybody knows what that means at this point, except probably a lot of those people that are making those protests and chanting those chants. So, yes, they should be arrested. They should be charged with those hate crimes. And by the way, just to let you know where the whole Israel-Hamas battle is right now, this morning, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he expects the fighting to wind down in Gaza very soon because now he is dealing with fighting Hezbollah. Also Iran-backed, also now attacking Israel as well. So everywhere you go, if you are Israeli, if you're Jewish, you have battles going on, whether it is against Iran, you've got Hamas, you've got Hezbollah, and so forth. And so this is impacting, obviously, us right here in America, and it is going on across the world. And so we'll have to watch where this goes. But they did arrest a bunch of people there in Los Angeles. And again, I will go back and, that rabbi that said, listen, Christians wouldn't do this. Jewish folks wouldn't do this. But these pro-Hamas supporters, this is what they do. And they're not helping their cause. Obviously, they're not helping their cause. By the way, one of my favorite moments from over the weekend was watching this Jerry Seinfeld episode where he was again heckled, because last week we told you that he was heckled. He's going through Australia. Jerry Seinfeld is. He's going through Australia. And remember that he was heckled by some, pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian guy in the audience. He stands up and he starts, screaming at Jerry Seinfeld. Of course, he is Jewish. And Seinfeld said, "Oh, you're a real genius." You remember that story. Well, it happened again. You ready? This is Jerry Seinfeld, and he's up on stage. He's doing his thing, and somebody gets up and starts screaming about Jewish people.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free!
But it was the U.S. comedian who had the last laugh.
Oh, you're back! They're back! The protesters are back! I missed you!
The crowd booing the activists out of the arena.
Oh, you're not doing well. Here's the other thing I think you need to go back and tell who's ever running your organization. We just gave more money to a Jew. That cannot be a good plan for you.
See, that's the great thing, is that we all, as a country here in America and as a world, we see how ridiculous these people are. You know how much money these Jerry Seinfeld tickets are? I mean, they're hundreds of dollars, if not a lot more. So that is the great thing, is that the people, whether it's on college campus, in front of synagogues, or blocking freeways or highways, they do realize they're simply not helping their cause, and they're just making themselves look really dumb. And that's what's going on. And so for Seinfeld, he is handling this way appropriately. Because, you do get angry at college kids, whether they're, Jewish people or, college students that are, they're Jewish, or anyone trying to get to class. And you have these bozos that are blocking their way into class, and they're causing all kinds of damage. They're protesting, they're vandalizing, and all of this kind of nonsense. But when they really have to deal with life and they have to figure out, okay, how are we going to eat? Where are we going to get our water? How are we going to go to the bathroom? They just don't have a plan. And really, it does expose how ignorant they really are. And that's what this is. Their ignorance is showing. But how incredible is it? There's something else that is going on after what happened back in October, is that more people, more Jewish people, more people of Jewish heritage, they are reconnecting with their roots. They're reconnecting with their history and their faith, because of the attacks and the resulting anti-Semitism. There was a whole big article over the weekend on that. I want to say it was in either The Hill or the Wall Street Journal, but I thought it was fascinating, where you have all of these folks who, they haven't been to synagogue in years and years, but everything that's been going on is now bringing folks back to their roots and bringing them again back to synagogue, because they're reconnecting because of all of the hate. And that's part of why what happened back in October, as horrific as it is, out of the ashes of that day comes more people reconnecting to their Jewish roots. By the way, more from Jerry Seinfeld very quickly.
Such great audiences, such nice people. Even the protester wasn't that bad. He wasn't bad. Wouldn't it be horrible if he was enjoying the show? And then he had a turn and think, I just want to hear one more bit and then I'll screw it. He waited a long time. He was having a good time.
See, I love it. I absolutely love it. Jerry Seinfeld. By the way, you know what? One of the things I'd like to see? I would like to see, you got all the hand-wringing over white supremacism, right? I mean, the media always talking about that and trying to connect it to Donald Trump. I'd like to see reports specifically on the rise of anti-Semitism and tie that right back to the Democrats and their anti-Israel policies. Perhaps somebody will do that. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on Super Talk 99.7. Thank you very much. 5:15, Nashville's Morning News. Sunday today, a high of 92. Right now, 73 at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, I cannot wait for the 5:35 version of the Gang of Three Amigos. The White House has a new associate communications director, and I cannot wait to tell you about Tyler Cherry. Now, if you don't know who Tyler Cherry is, just Google him. Tyler, Tyler Cherry. Google him and just see what comes up. It is 5:16 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Very quickly, I want to get into colleges and how I just got done telling about what's going on in what happened in Los Angeles, all of these pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian people terrorizing these people trying to go to synagogue. Well, a lot of these folks that were doing the exact same thing on college campuses. Listen to this headline. You ready? And I saw this and I laughed. And I said, well, gosh, who didn't see this coming? 3 in 10 campus pro-Palestinian protesters have now had job offers rescinded in the past 6 months, according to a new survey. And I love the campus reform picture that they have with this article, because it's got somebody holding a resume, and the picture on the resume is a college student wearing one of these keffiyehs and, it's engaged in battle and so forth. That's the picture on the resume. A recent survey found that 3 in 10 college students or recent graduates had job offers rescinded. We saw this play out in real time. Didn't we see this in real time? We had all of these, what would you call them, entrepreneurs and business owners that were saying, you know what? I'm not going to hire these people. Look at them. Look at what they're doing. Look how absolutely insane and irrational they are. Intelligence surveyed 672 students or recent college graduates who have engaged in anti-Israel activism and found that 29% of them had a job offer rescinded in the past 6 months, and 55% believe there was bias against them in the hiring process because of their activism. Now, the word bias, isn't that interesting? Because I don't think the word bias actually should apply. I think that the people who have rescinded those job offers, they are judging them based, not on their skin color or their religion or their background. They're judging them based on, let's face it, their activism. They're judging them based on their actions. That's what they're judging them on. Now, if you want to call that bias, then knock yourself out. But the bottom line is, if you play stupid games, you're going to get stupid prizes. And that is exactly what is going on. They say 7 in 10 pro-Palestine activists said they were asked about their protest history during the interview process, according to the survey results. Isn't that interesting? So now if you're going to look for a job and you go in and they ask you your protest history, and they're actually going to say, yeah, I was out in front of a synagogue beating up a Jew. I mean, is that really the top things that you want to say on your, during your job interview? Apparently, that is what they're asking these students now, these young adults. They say this is consistent with another study that we performed where employers expressed concerns that hiring protesters and strongly vocal activists might cause distractions and disruptions in the workplace and negatively impact that workplace. 21% of those surveyed also reported negative feedback from potential employers about their activism, and 14% either had job offers withdrawn or not extended. Well, look, if you did not have a job offer extended, it's obvious because there's perhaps more than one thing that is an issue, but I would find it difficult. I'm not in a position to hire anyone anymore, and I hope to never be in a position to have to hire people again. But if I did, and somebody came in and they started railing against, Israel and talking about from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, I would have a really hard time hiring that person, number one, because I disagree vehemently with their beliefs. But here's the other thing. The other thing is they don't know what's appropriate in the workplace. And so if they find it acceptable to have that kind of statement and that kind of commentary during a job interview, well, then how are they going to behave if they get the job and then all of a sudden they turn into a human resources nightmare? So, yeah, for me, I'm not surprised, and there's part of me that actually is glad that these 3 in 10 campus pro-Palestine protesters had job offers rescinded in the past 6 months. Now, what's going to happen is that they're going to suddenly realize, okay, so I need to keep my activism in check until I get hired. And then I'll start espousing all of my, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic opinions and watch them try to fire me. And it does turn into an absolute human resources nightmare. So anyway, there's the younger, and I hate to say it, but this is a younger adult thing. These young adults, they simply, it seems to me, they don't know the right way to behave in the office, especially if they've been out there and they've been protesting on college campuses, protesting in front of synagogues and the like. Nobody wants to work with that. Nobody wants to deal with that, especially when the bottom line is, as a business, you're trying to make money. That is the bottom line. It is 5:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
22 counties in Iowa are underwater. Lots of water rescues there. And the search is on for a suspect who just randomly picked a guy out pumping gas in Nashville and started stabbing him. Coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken. 5:22, Nashville's Morning News. Friends, if you want a summer without limits, think about unlimited shade and unlimited privacy with Moon Valley Nurseries. Now, if you'd like more privacy in your backyard, Moon Valley Nurseries is planting all summer long. Their privacy-geared trees and hedges can give you the privacy you want this summer and keep your backyard shady as well. Now, summer is more fun with privacy and shade. Check out how to make that happen at moonvalleynurseries.com. These are trees that'll thrive in our climate and in your backyard. So check these folks out today, moonvalleynurseries.com. Their packages are customized for your backyard and, yes, your budget as well. Check them out today at moonvalleynurseries.com. That's moonvalleynurseries.com. And by the way, if you're not sure what to do with your backyard or what you need to do to get more shade and privacy, they'll give you all kinds of suggestions. Check them out online, and they can show you what they can do for your backyard and help you come up with some great ideas for privacy, shade, and your overall comfort. Tell them Dan told you to reach out, moonvalleynurseries.com, moonvalleynurseries.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
.30 on the dot this Monday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Look for more heat and humidity. Yes, it is summertime. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Dealing with a lot of heavy rain and flooding in parts of Iowa. Bailey Mower was in her apartment in Spencer in far northern Iowa. Says the water appeared to come out of nowhere.
It was not bad at all. It was just like a little bit on the roads. And then literally within an hour, we woke up at 8, and then like an hour later, our whole driveway was completely flooded. So it was rising very quickly.
Yeah, more than 250 water rescues carried out by first responders, even members of the public across 22 counties in Iowa. Here in Nashville, the search is on for a suspect after what police say was a random stabbing attack on a man pumping gas near Percy Priest Lake on Thursday. Here's Channel 4's Jordan James.
He told officers that the suspect came from the woods and began attacking him. The two would end up getting in a fight, but during the process, he was stabbed more than 5 times in the head and neck area. This is believed to have been a random attack since the victim claims to not know the suspect. While he continues to be treated at the hospital, customers are left shaken by what took place.
Yeah, this was at the Exxon on Smith Spring Ferry, and the suspect, identified as a black man who wore a blue hooded sweatshirt and dark pants, It's posted all over social media. If you know this person, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. Right now across the nation, car dealerships dealing with key outages as CDK Global, a major software company, falls victim to a cyber attack. Several major auto companies, including Ford, Stellantis, GM, and Hyundai, confirmed the hack is disrupting car maintenance and repairs. They're unable to process appointments or complete sales transactions, some turning to pen and paper. For prospective car buyers, it may even mean delays with no immediate end in sight. And turning to sports.
And Tennessee forces a Game 3. They win it 4-1.
Now the Vols avenging Game 1 against the Aggies of the College World Series. One of the teams will win its first national title in baseball and become the 5th straight champion from the Southeastern Conference when they meet tonight. First pitch at 6. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. The Glock Store. This is where I buy all my guns and my performance parts as well. Now, listen, friends, if you have not visited the Glock Store, you really should, especially if you have any interest whatsoever in the Glock brand. Now, there's a reason why it's called the Glock Store, because if it has anything to do with Glock, anything, you can bet that it's on the shelf at the Glock Store, and if it's not on the shelf, it is likely back in the warehouse about to be brought out. They do get all the latest stuff. And also, by the way, when it comes to performance parts for my own Glock, I always go to the source, the Glock Store, where my performance parts are installed for free while I wait. They're going to do the same thing for you. And, of course, they do have those incredible, incomparable Shoot 270 indoor shooting ranges. No lane range nonsense at the Glock Store. Just you and the instructor in a private shooting room. Now, that is the Glock Store. It's on Air Lane Drive, just off of Elm Hill Pike and Briley Parkway. Tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. The Glock Store and GlockStore.com. Just minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. .37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Time for the Gang of Three Amigos, brought to you by My Patriot Supply. PrepareWithMandis.com. Good morning, Johnny. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. Great. How are you?
2 thumbs up in my world. Plenty of time to train wreck. Hello, Ken Weaver. How are you?
Good morning, boys. Yeah.
Now, just so we're all clear, the reason I'm asking you two, how are you, is because I happen to know for a fact that my radio consultant is listening right now. And it makes him cringe whenever I ask people how they are.
Wonder how he's doing.
You know what I should ask?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to. Anyway.
Okay. What do you pay this consultant?
Oh, you know what? I could tell you, Ken, but then I'd have to kill you. But you know what? Between you and the 3 other people that are still listening right now, it's not really all that many people I'd have to kill. Anyway, moving right along.
The list is short.
The list is short.
Hey, Mom.
There you go. There you go.
How's weather out there in Tulsa?
Hey, can I go back to one of your news stories that you're covering today?
Do it, Brother Dan.
The guy pumping his gas in Hermitage.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
Pumping his gas.
Standing there pumping his gas. Now, that's the guy that is a bass player for a band, right?
Yeah, he's bass player for a band. Had to cancel the show this weekend because he's got 5 jabs to his head and neck.
They were getting ready to go out on tour, and he's getting gas, and some dude stabs him many times and then just goes back into the woods.
Comes out of the woods, stabs him, runs back into the woods, and they're looking for him.
That is, and I mean, that's just obviously scary and horrific.
Absolutely.
And I don't know who's in the woods, but typically in that area, and I know this because I live in that area, it's all those homeless people. Yeah. And those homeless people, they have mental issues.
Yep, some of them, yeah.
And so this guy, yes, some of them. So this guy just decides he's going to bolt and, bolt out of the woods, stab this guy in the neck, in the head, I guess. How is this guy surviving?
Well, he was fighting the guy. He was fighting him. So that's probably how he survived. Fighting him off.
Well, good for him, man, because and prayers for him. But you hear these stories and they are just horrifying. So
absolutely, dude. I mean, it can happen to you anytime. I mean, I'll never forget my family gets ticked off at me because sometimes I still pump gas in the middle of the night on the way to work.
Ken Weaver, you got to stop that, man.
Dude, I'll never forget. I'm sitting there pumping gas, and this dude is walking up to me with one arm in his jacket pocket and another one saying, hey, man, let me have a word with you, man. Mm-hmm. And I just said, nope. Jumped in the car and boom.
That is so funny.
Took off. I mean, what was his hand doing in his pocket? And this guy came out of nowhere.
Right. Oh, when I'm coming here in the morning.
I don't trust at that time anymore.
I don't even get out of the car. I wouldn't even go through a drive-through.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
Especially at a gas station.
No.
Is that what they say? Nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m.?
I think it's after midnight, brother.
Oh, is it after midnight?
Yeah.
I bet.
2 a.m.'s even worse.
Yeah.
I better be more careful.
Yeah.
Hey, the White House has a new associate communications director.
All right. Well, so is that going to maybe improve things, Brother Dan? Are we going to get the truth?
Things are going to come together now. People are going to get together.
Boy, I don't, get together maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Guy's name is Tyler Cherry. And based on his past tweets, he hates cops, he hates Israel, and he hates ICE, as in Immigration, Customs, and Enforcement.
Okay.
A well-rounded individual.
He probably hates frozen water, too. With this guy, he just seems to hate everything.
Sounds like he qualifies for the job there in the Biden administration.
He also tweeted that he hates his family, and they're all racist. So this guy is just...
Wow.
Yeah, he checked all the boxes, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, there's more.
Oh, good.
He's also gay, which is fine, not judging.
That checks off a box.
Yeah. People, though, are comparing him to Sam Brinton, the nuclear agency official who ended up stealing that women's luggage from airports. Remember all of that?
Yeah, claims he didn't, even though he was caught on camera.
Wearing said makeup?
Wearing the clothes?
Multiple times.
Yeah.
So this guy, Tyler Cherry, if you Google him, there's all kinds of pictures of him in women's clothing.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's in some sort of a nightclub in like downtown New York at 2 a.m. And it looks like kind of like a just one of those clubs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
one of those clubs.
One of those clubs. And I'm thinking, so he's got all these tweets out there. Now, whatever he wants to do on his private time, whatever. But the tweets where he's talking about the police need to be, whatever it was, defunded and ICE needs to be dismantled and all of this stuff. Well, he's now deleted them. Because when he was named to his new position, everybody knows that he is now the new Associate Communications Director. He's been working in the Biden administration for a time. Now he's been promoted. And so people start pointing out these old tweets, and he gets upset because people are pointing out the old tweets.
Oh, he can't stand by his words.
No, he deleted the tweets.
Oh.
He comes out and he says, those are old tweets, and I stand by the Biden administration on climate and racism, or whatever it was. From the Hill, the October right wing, they say, in October, the right wing social media account Libs of TikTok criticized Cherry's appearance on X by sharing photos and old posts from Cherry. The posts sparked a debate over Cherry's style and prompted criticism from conservative voices over what it means to appear professional. Well, he's in a dress and it looks like he's at some sort of an S&M club. I don't know. Whatever.
Any posts? Here's a story from Newsweek says any posts on his account predating April 2022 appear to have been deleted.
No. But see, here's the crazy thing.
So apparently he just got on social media in 2022.
Here's the funny thing, though, and, you know, this is so on par for the Biden administration, is he has all of these old tweets out there, not to mention the photographs, clearly not professional. And then we could have the whole debate as far as what you tweet and personal and professional and all that, whatever. But if this is what you tweeted, stand by it, because the Biden administration hired you.
Yeah.
And you had all of those tweets out there. So clearly this is what the Biden administration stands for. This is what they do. They say, though, the White House is trying to make this about, picking on somebody who is, gay or what have you.
Oh, perpetual victimhood.
The White House at the time condemned the attacks, defending Cherry.
Poor little Cherry.
As an invaluable member of the team. No one should be targeted simply for being themselves. It is cruel and unacceptable.
Poor little fella.
Little hairy Cherry.
Well, most of the folks who are criticizing him are criticizing him for what he said in the tweets, but also the photographs that he posted are unprofessional.
Well, and then you've got,
and frankly, a little weird.
And he's apparently ticked off both sides, because now the people that agreed with him are mad that he erased his post. He can't win for losing.
He can't win.
Did they erase his? They were mad because he erased his post?
Yeah, apparently there were some people who said, "Why did you take that down?"
Well, that's my point. It's like, dude, you know what?
Well, I was different when I was younger. How long ago was that? Last year.
A lot of things can change in a year, Ken.
I said something last year. That's when I was younger.
That's exactly. I wish I could say that. When you
poor little Cherry.
When you're married, and this is not an ex-wife, a current, but when you have a spouse,
yeah,
where you say something and it doesn't come out quite right, and they remember it for like 25 years.
Sure.
And anybody can relate to this. I wish I could just pass it off, or people could pass this off as, I was a lot younger then.
There you go.
I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know what I was thinking. I was younger then, so I deserve to be, I deserve a second chance. That's exactly what.
This is funny. Apparently, ex-user Ashley St. Clair replied to Cherry's tweet by asking, "That's really awesome to hear, Tyler. Could you elaborate on what views are different and which one of those past posts do not reflect your current views?"
And she's got all the posts. Every single one. Well done, Ashley St. Clair.
Oh, she kept the receipts.
Oh, hey, by the way.
Poor Cherry.
Have you ever thought about how some of these TV shows for kids are like cocaine? Have you ever thought about that? There is a new show.
Many times.
There is a new show out there, and that's a new show, but it's just an article out there that talks about this show that is being called Cocaine for Babies.
Cocomelon!
Cocomelon? You ever heard of Cocomelon?
No.
Get you a little tune there.
Experts and parents issue a warning. They're actually now issuing a warning over this Netflix children's show that acts like cocaine for babies, and mothers are forced to ban Jekyll and Hyde kids from watching. Because I guess when they're watching this, everything's all hunky-dory. It's the happy show. But then when you don't allow them to watch, they completely change, and they're like showing withdrawal symptoms like they're on cocaine.
Wow.
Or cell phones.
Or a cell phone. That's exactly right.
That's very true.
And you know what? Can I just say that if you were on some sort of a hallucinogen, and you watch this, I think it would make your trip a lot trippier.
I'm sure it would.
Because it is just like, it's kind of akin to the Teletubbies. You know what I mean?
It's Coco Melon, huh?
Coco Melon. Oh, I don't know. Let me play that one more time for you, Johnny, just to make Coco Melon. That's exactly.
Coco Melon. Do.
Starting to see things, dude.
Hey, man. I'm getting agitated to have the music stop.
Yeah.
There you go, Johnny.
Oh, thank you.
We'll play through the rest of the set.
Oh, thank you.
That's better.
Yeah. I feel much better.
They say it is a ratings phenomenon.
I bet.
With its single top viewed videos on YouTube, watched by an average of 1 billion. 1 billion. Mainly preschoolers each and every year. 1 billion.
That's what.
That is insanity.
While mom and dad are on their phones.
Yeah.
Of course, in this economy is why mom and dad are at their second jobs.
On their phones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Listen, thank the Lord for Coco Melon. Keeps the little kids occupied while mom and dad are busy doing other things.
Coco Melon.
Coco Melon.
On Netflix, the series was viewed for as many minutes, 33.27 billion, in fact, as Disney's Luca, Moana, Raya, and The Last Dragon and Frozen 2 combined.
Whatever happened to Bob the Builder?
Oh, I used to love Bob.
Remember little Bob?
Yeah.
He'd go out and build a friend a house. Like if you're down on your luck, old Bob would come around and build you a house.
Here comes Bob.
Bob the Builder.
That's exactly right. Bob the Builder. I could probably, if you gave me a second, Bob the Builder. Yes, we can.
Yeah.
That was, you remember that, Ken?
Yeah.
Bob the Builder.
Had a little utility belt on.
He did, and he had that little blonde friend of his. I always thought there was something going on between he and the blonde. I did. What was her name? Do you remember? What was Bob?
I don't remember what her name was, but, maybe there was something subliminal going on there.
Listen, there was Bert and Ernie, and then there was Bob and his blonde girlfriend.
Yeah, baby.
You're killing me, man.
All right, I got Bob the Builder and his blonde friend. Let me look that up.
Yeah, what was her name? I don't even remember.
Builder and his blonde friend.
But kids do get addicted to these shows.
Oh, yes, they do.
And you know what? It's so easy for parents just to stick them right in front of that TV.
Oh,
Wendy.
Wendy. Bob the Builder and Wendy. How could I forget Wendy?
Bob's business partner and best friend, later love interest.
Ooh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wait, did they eventually graduate to like love interest kind of a thing?
Here is what it says on the internet. Friends, Wendy is Bob's business partner and best friend, later love interest, who runs the office and keeps the business in order and often organizes tools and equipment. She apparently kept his tools in order.
Yes.
Wendy, we're working overtime tonight.
Wow. All right. Well, that's a new one. I didn't know that Bob and Wendy finally
Are Bob and Wendy married? Wendy is Bob's building partner and later his wife.
Whoa! They went all
got
the
married.
way.
They made it legal.
Yes. Her general building skills mean that she's very hands-on.
I bet.
I bet.
And
You go,
has
Bob.
her own specific job in every build.
I bet you.
You know, it's so funny. I had no idea that they finally tied the knot. I had no idea. The things you learn on this show.
Did they have to, is what I want to know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there a little maybe Bob or Wendy out there now?
Yeah, a little.
Do the math? You know?
Yeah.
Do the whole math thing? It's like, okay, so when was the baby born? When did the marriage happen?
I'm not seeing that, but
okay.
I'm checking out Bob's utility belt.
Yeah.
His pencil is just as big as his monkey wrench. That's a big pencil.
Maybe that's what impressed Wendy. I don't know.
Just in case he's got to write, some measurements down.
Can you just set it up for me, man? And I just had to do it.
You couldn't.
I could not do it.
You were just like Michael of The Office. Just had to do it, didn't you, Brother Dan?
All right, well, good for Bob and Wendy.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I wonder is, are they still married? Or are they like 50% of the couples in America and they got divorced?
Is Wendy still married? Oh, no, well, that's another Wendy. Never mind.
Moving right along.
All right,
5:53. What's coming up in the news?
Well, coming up, we're going to tell you about that random stabbing attack. A Nashville man, actually an artist, who had to cancel his concerts this weekend because of a random stabbing attack in Nashville. Coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 6 o'clock on the dot this Monday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. More heat and humidity this week. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Iowa, at least 250 water rescues across 22 counties after more than 15 inches of rain over the weekend caused massive flooding. This man is traumatized.
Hearing terrible stories from other people about, disabled people in wheelchairs on the first floors while it's flooding. It was pretty terrifying. Seeing the babies come out of houses, not something I ever want to see again.
That man near Spencer, Iowa. Right now in Nashville, Channel 4 says customers are shocked to learn a man was randomly attacked while pumping gas at the Exxon gas station along Smith Springs Road near Percy Priest Lake on Thursday.
It's absolutely insane to think that, you just pumping your gas and somebody could walk out of the woods and stab you for no reason with no provocation. It's just, that's pretty insane to hear that happened here.
Yeah, the victim says he was just pumping gas Thursday when this man came out of the woods and attacked him with a knife. Says he doesn't know the suspect. He suffered at least 5 jabs to his head and neck. And right now in South Korea, officials at the scene where they say 16 people died when a fire broke out this morning at a lithium battery factory just south of Seoul. And here in America, election 2024, while President Biden's practicing for Thursday's debate, First Lady Jill Biden's campaigning.
Women put Joe Biden in the White House. Hey, and women are going to keep him there.
Yeah, President Biden holed up at Camp David preparing for Thursday's big debate. As for the former president, here's Mary Alice Parks.
With the first presidential debate just 4 days away, former President Donald Trump asking his crowd in Philadelphia for strategy advice.
Should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history, or should I be nice and calm and let him speak?
Trump now saying that his VP pick will most likely be at the debate.
And make sure to join WTN for the big debate everybody's talking about. WTN's presidential debate watch party Thursday at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro, starting at 3, goes until 8, and it's free. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Here's Jim Ryan.
The tech stock surge may be in for a slowdown, with the IT and communications sectors of the S&P each up well over 20% this year. Experts tell Reuters tech may be due for a pullback. The next best sector, utilities, are up less than 10% this year. Those rumblings in the tech sector helped to pull down the NASDAQ and S&P by just under 0.2% Friday. The Dow Jones, on the other hand, rose 15 points and finished out the week at 39,150. Many of the nation's car dealerships are going old school, some using pen and paper to keep operations going in the midst of a cyber attack. A company that provides management software to about 15,000 dealers nationwide has been hit by hackers. And it's enough to keep parents of college-bound kids awake at night. The National Center for Education Statistics says the total annual cost for tuition and fees at 4-year U.S. colleges and universities has tripled since 1963 to an average $17,000 now.
All right, Dow futures up 142, S&P futures up 10, NASDAQ futures up 6. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
6:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I just tweeted this out. I love this. It is 1:08, and Trump was in Pennsylvania, right? I don't have any Trump audio from this weekend in Pennsylvania. Basically, the bottom line is he said a lot of the same things, and there's a lot of things I want to talk about today. But there is a story coming out of Pennsylvania where this 12-year-old kid, and again, I tweeted it out. You can follow me at Dan Mandis Show, and he's got a Trump wig on. Not only does this 12-year-old have a Trump wig on, but he's also got the exact suit that Donald Trump is wearing. I mean, it looks fabulous. And so Trump, and the kid actually cried. The kid actually met Donald Trump. Trump signed a $20 bill for him. And I love the quote that Donald Trump had. As he's signing the $20 bill, he says, let's increase the value of this $20 bill. And he signed it and handed it back to the kid. Just really cool. Also signed his hat, and good for former President Donald Trump, as this 12-year-old kid clearly idolizes him, and the president, former president, absolutely a class act. Now, the former president was in Pennsylvania. Word is he knows who his running mate is going to be, or at the very least, who he's going to offer that position to. And he says that person will be at the debate on Thursday night. We just don't know who it is. Trump says that he knows who it is. We have no idea who it is, although a lot of people are guessing that it is Doug Burgum. Now, let's just get right to some of this audio because it is kind of funny. There's a guy named Mitch Landrieu, and Mitch Landrieu is one of the advisors, one of the top advisors for Joe Biden. And he was on, I think this was on Fox News, and he was asked just a very basic question about Joe Biden and the Latino vote. Listen.
The question is, why is Joe Biden losing ground with some Latino voters right now?
Well, I don't know. I think that you got to play this thing out and see actually how it works.
So he says, I don't know. I have no idea why Joe Biden is losing the Latino vote. Memo to Mitch Landrieu, you might want to read the Wall Street Journal, the Daily Mail, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Daily Wire. All of these various outlets have all published stories on why Donald Trump is leading Joe Biden in the Hispanic numbers. And the reason why Joe Biden is losing all of that Hispanic support is obvious. It's because of the wide open borders and the economy. I mean, that is completely obvious. And so for Landrieu to go on the networks over the weekend and say, I have no idea why it is that Joe Biden is losing the Hispanic vote. All right, Mitch, whatever you say.
Latino voters are like everybody else. They move around from space to face. You see this with African-American voters as well.
Right, because African-American voters, black voters, are also moving away from Joe Biden at record numbers. Remember that audio that I played for you last week? It was the numbers cruncher from CNN, who is all giddy and excited, and he's saying we are seeing black support for Donald Trump like we have never seen before. So I would say to Mitch Landrieu with the Biden administration, well, you're right. Black voters move around too.
The point of the matter is most Americans want a safe and secure country.
All right, so he right there, he just nails it. When he says that Americans want a safe and secure country. Why, yes, we do. And do you know what the exact opposite of a safe and secure country is? Joe Biden's country. Joe Biden's America. Where every day, it was almost like every day last week, we were regaled with stories about how, the border is secure and, there really is no problem with these guys coming across our southern border and killing our citizens. Meantime, you had that mother of 5 out of Maryland. That was a story last week. She was killed out hiking. I told you about that story. There was the 13-year-old girl that was raped in New York by a migrant as well. Friday, there was a story about a 12-year-old in Houston who was also killed by a migrant. And so when this guy Landro says,
the point of the matter is most Americans want a safe and secure country.
Joe Biden has given us the complete opposite of safe and secure.
They want a stable president.
We want a stable president as well. So in one, 25-second soundbite, this Biden talking head is literally making the case for Donald Trump. Because, yeah, the American people want a stable president. Do you believe that Joe Biden is stable? Do you believe that the American people, I would ask Mitch Landrieu, do you believe that the American people find Joe Biden stable? Because clearly, if you look at the polling, and I don't care what poll you're looking at, if you look at the polling, it is clear that the American people have genuine concerns about the current president.
They want somebody that is fighting for them. And at the end of the day, I think that they're going to vote for Joe Biden.
Well, I think you may be wrong, Mitch Landrieu. We don't know. By the way, one of the big stories in the news today is the massive amount of money. I'll get into this maybe in the after the 6:30 news. The massive amount of money that Donald Trump has been able to bring in since the guilty verdict. I mean, it is huge. And you know what? Honestly, good for Donald Trump. Because that's one of those stories that we've been telling you for a long time. You have to realize the American people understand what's going on. And, in the previous hour, I'll probably revisit this topic, had a lot of reaction to it, where there's a lot of people who are of Jewish heritage or Jewish faith that are rediscovering their roots and going back to Judaism because of all of the anti-Semitism that has been happening across America and across the world. And there's people that haven't been to temple in years. And now because of everything that we've seen happen across America, they are rediscovering their Judaism. That is what's going on. That is part of the irony of the headlines today, is that you have all of these various stories of, these pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas protesters, and they won't allow the story out of Los Angeles. They won't allow the Jewish people to go into their temple, into their synagogue, and they were basically holding people out. They were basically saying, no, you are not allowed, these pro-Hamas supporters, they would not allow the Jewish people to go into the synagogue. And it turned into a massive brawl. And it is stories like that where Jewish people are saying, you know what, I haven't been in years, but I think I'm going to go because I suddenly feel a connection because of the enemy that has clearly come to America. Well, the same thing is happening with Donald Trump, because there's a lot of people who may not have been a fan of Donald Trump. They may have been so over Donald Trump, they were looking at DeSantis or whatever. But when all of the lawfare started, they came back home. And it has been an especially rough several weeks in America as migrant crime has been taking center stage. But wait till you hear the audio that I have from MSNBC. And they are horrified by absolutely the wrong thing. Details straight ahead on WTN 6:15. Time to check the roads. Thank you very much. 6:16 on Nashville's Morning News. As far as your weather today, sunny, a high of 92, right now 74. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. So we do have the murder of Rachel Marin in Maryland. We have the rape of that 13-year-old girl in New York City. There is the murder of a 12-year-old, I believe she was 12, in Houston as well. Of course, we all know what happened with Lake and Riley in Georgia. In other words, I mean, all of these stories, they keep coming and they keep coming. And it's for the American people. I believe that it is getting to the point where we're just beleaguered by all of this. And so it was a comical weekend over on MSNBC where you had a couple of different instances where they actually, believe it or not, downplayed the fact that the guys accused in all of these horrific crimes were and are illegal aliens. Now, listen to what they say here in this clip, where they say, oh, we don't like the term illegal aliens.
You don't use the term illegal, so undocumented individuals.
Oh, no, we can't possibly use the term illegal alien. No, it's like they're more horrified at the usage of that term than what these people have been doing.
You don't use the term illegal, so undocumented individuals.
They're illegal aliens.
Undocumented individuals versus anyone else who commits the same crime. Well, I mean, so what you're saying is because you have this instance of individuals behaving badly, that's a reflection of every individual in that community, and that's just not the case.
No, wow. So Michael Steele and the left, they often do this, where they try to make this point, this case. Why should it matter if these folks are here legally or illegally? The obvious answer is that you have people that are being killed, injured by people that should not even be here. And so when they come here and they break our immigration laws, and that is clearly a sign of weak immigration laws, courtesy of Joe Biden, but then they get here and they do all of these other horrific things. So the sign of their gratitude is they come in here and they kill our citizens. And so you've got Michael Steele and some of these other folks on MSNBC saying, well, you know, when a few of these guys commit these heinous acts, it's not indicative of all illegal aliens. Well, no, it's not. And very few Republicans or conservatives would make that leap. But what we can tell you is that it is indicative of Joe Biden's open border policy. You also have the obvious point that the culture, and I made this point a number of times last week, the culture where these guys come from is very violent. And they get away with some of these types of crimes at home. And guess what? They're getting away with some of these crimes here as well. And so the more that we see these things happening, the more the American people are standing up and realizing that Donald Trump does have the solution and did have the solution to these problems. I mean, do you know how many people would be alive today if it weren't for Joe Biden's open border policy so that they can get political advantage? Of course. I mean, that goes without saying, but we all have to say it ad nauseum. So they take great care, you'll notice, to hand-wring over the term illegal alien and criticizing the concern of Americans over these heinous crimes. I mean, listen to this.
But there's a lot of fear-mongering.
There's a lot of fear-mongering, absolutely.
And I think it's kind of remarkable that the polls I look at, the national polls, actually Americans still support immigrants. They support immigration.
Wow. That is, by the way, Pramila Jayapal and Joy Reid on MSNBC. And you'll notice that they're taking the standard Republican or conservative position and the position of most of the American people completely out of context. Details straight ahead. 620 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. So yeah, they're complaining about the fear-mongering of the Republicans. They're talking about the fear-mongering of Fox News, and you actually hear them chuckle. They're chuckling. And the reason why they're chuckling is because they just can't believe that Fox News is reporting on the fact that a 13-year-old has been raped by an illegal alien or a migrant.
But there's a lot of fear-mongering.
There's a lot of fear-mongering, absolutely.
And I think it's kind of remarkable that the polls I look at, the national polls, actually Americans still support immigrants. They support immigration.
So again, the American people do support, by and large, immigration. What we don't support is illegal immigration. We don't support unvetted illegal immigration. So that's what they're trying to do, is that they're trying to, would you call that a cheap fake? Because that's what they're doing. They're misrepresenting how conservatives and the American people feel. Because, again, not to belabor the point, but there's clearly a difference between illegal, unvetted immigration coming across a wide open southern border for political reasons and legal immigration. But they're trying to conflate the two.
It's just that they would like to see a system that actually works and that can keep them safe and secure. And all of us want that. And, you know, I've been working on this issue for 20 years since before I came to Congress in the streets as an activist.
Well, the fear-mongering is based on real-life events. And the network and Republicans are not fear-mongering. They are simply reporting the facts and commenting on those facts. Oh, there's more. There's a lot more. I've got the rest of that story for you as well. By the way, coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, 7:06, Michael Patrick Leahy from the Tennessee Star, he had an incredible story. I think it was on Friday afternoon where he received an email, and we're going to talk to Michael Patrick Leahy about this from the Tennessee Star. We're going to talk about this incredible email that he received from a father who it seems like his daughter is going to Vandy in their psychiatric unit, and all of a sudden, his daughter seems to be now transitioning. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more in the 7 o'clock hour on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here, and if I know anything after fixing up my house over the years, it is that good companies are hard to find, which is why I am so glad that I can tell you about one of the great ones. I've been telling you about Copper Creek Electric. Now, they've been electrifying Middle Tennessee since 2008, and whatever you need done, they can do it. From residential remodels to new construction, Copper Electric do any job you need for your home, for your business. These folks at Copper Creek Electric, they do it all, and they do it right the first time, and they'll tailor the job to your needs. Now, you do know the electrical in your home or business is serious, and it does need to be up to code. Copper Creek Electric can do that, and they're easy to work with, licensed and insured. So call them today. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. That phone number is 615-476-8697. 615-476-8697. You can always find them online. It's coppercreekelectric.biz. That's coppercreekelectric.biz. 624 on Nashville's Morning News. Ken Weaver was coming up in the news at 6:30.
Another cyber attack, and this one impacts getting your car serviced, also repaired, and maybe even if you want to buy or sell a car. We'll tell you about it at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Tennessee is one
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.629, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver coming up with the news next. Big news from my friends at Window Nation. They are still in the middle of a really great deal for you. It is their semi-annual sale. And going on right now, you can get 50% off of all windows from Window Nation, along with 0% interest for 5 years, plus an additional bonus savings offer when you schedule an appointment. Now you've got to tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Now remember, Window Nation is my window company. So if you're thinking about getting windows either this month, this year, call my friends at Window Nation and take advantage of that great Dan deal. 866-90-NATION is the phone number, 866-90-NATION. They did put new windows in my downstairs basement studio. And up next, the kitchen and bedroom. Window Nation is the company for me. Remember, get 50% off of all windows plus 0% interest for 5 years and a bonus savings offer when you schedule your appointment today. Be sure and tell him Dan told you to reach out. Schedule a fast, no obligation, in-home consultation now with the pros at Window Nation. 866-90-NATION is the phone number, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com.
.630 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Heat and humidity. It's summer. That's what we're going to have today. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Iowa, people across 22 counties are terrified after heavy rains and flash flooding. More than 250 water rescues over the weekend. This couple in Spencer is terrified.
Anxious.
Yeah, they were
a lot of tears.
Worried where they were going to go and what they were going to where they were going to stay, I guess, more than anything.
Here in Nashville, Channel 4's Jordan James is covering that stabbing at the Exxon gas station on Smith Springs Road near Percy Priest Lake on Thursday. The victim says it came out of nowhere.
He told officers that the suspect came from the woods and began attacking him. The two would end up getting in a fight, but during the process, he was stabbed more than 5 times in the head and neck area. This is believed to have been a random attack since the victim claims to not know the suspect. While he continues to be treated at the hospital, customers are left shaken by what took place.
Now, fortunately, the victim's stab wounds are not life-threatening, but he's still in the hospital recovering. He's Steven Sobolewski, the bass player for the punk rock band Gloom Girl MFG, which had to cancel the first show of their new tour because of this attack. Another cyber attack, this one impacting major car dealerships across the nation who use a certain software.
CDK Global, a major player in the auto sales industry, was hit by back-to-back cyber attacks last Wednesday, crippling business at roughly 15,000 auto dealerships. The company provides the software that handles a range of dealership functions. Several major auto companies, including Ford, Stellantis, and GM, confirm the hack is not just disrupting car maintenance and repairs. It's left thousands of dealers unable to process appointments or complete sales transactions.
And turning to sports.
And Tennessee forces a game 3. They win it 4-1.
Yeah, the Vols avenging game 1 against the Aggies. One of the teams will win its first national title. First pitch is at 6 tonight, and that's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 6:32, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Want to tell about my friends at DT McCall's. Listen, whether you like to spend time indoors or outdoors when the weather is really hot like it is right now, DT McCall's is the place you need to go for whatever you need for your furniture. Appliances too, but if you like to spend time outside, they've got outside furniture. They've got inside furniture as well. Whatever you need to get ready for hotter weather. Now, lawnmowers, patio furniture, kitchen appliances, DT McCall's has anything that you need for your home, your yard, or your garage. Stop on by one of DT McCall's 5 locations. You can also find them online, as always, dtmccalls.com. Now, this is where I bought my last appliance, my oven. I love it. I went on to dtmccalls.com, and I found it. Price I was okay to pay, and it was exactly the color that Amy wanted, and they delivered it for free, and they hauled away the old one. You can get washers and dryer sets. You can get any type of home furnishing at DT McCall's. They've got great value, outstanding customer service as well. They've been in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and you don't last that long without doing a lot right. So many ways to save. All you need to do is go to one place, my place, DT McCall's. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Franklin, Cookeville, Lafayette, and Lebanon. Always online, dtmccalls.com. 6:37. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends, along with Johnny B, Ken Weaver, Dan Mandis here. Monday, June 24th. This was Donald Trump over the weekend.
On day one, I will seal the border, stop the invasion, and send Joe Biden's illegal aliens the hell back home.
Well, that's great, but what's he going to do about the invasive Asian snails?
Ooh.
Did you see this story out of the New York Post? So we've had like murder hornets and all kinds of other, insects and whatever.
The flying spider.
The flying spiders.
Yeah, the Joro spiders.
Yeah.
Let's not also forget the Asian carp.
Well, yeah, and it's summer. You need to stay indoors.
Now we have the invasive Asian mystery snail. It has surfaced in Georgia. Experts issue a warning over a parasite-carrying insect.
Everything starts in Georgia.
Yeah, it does. Ask Murphy.
No, everything starts in Asia.
Oh.
Don't get me started.
but that's where the murder hornets apparently first showed up.
Oh, was it?
Was in Georgia, and then it was Canada, and then all of a sudden they came up from Georgia.
There you go.
They like Georgia. They like the peaches.
Well, apparently these snails.
Yeah.
It's spreading pretty fast. I mean, not exactly at a snail's pace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go, Brother Dan.
All right.
They're racing. The snails are racing up from Georgia.
As if the U.S. Southeast wasn't inundated with enough invasive critters from Asia, a breeding population of Chinese mystery snails has surfaced in a Georgia lake, prompting fears that they could spread parasites and damage property.
Yeah,
Per an advisory by the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Yeah, these things obliterate ecosystems, apparently.
Yes.
So, yeah, now they're trying to figure out, okay, well, now what do we do?
Yeah, it's probably a real deal. I mean, you don't want them in your waterways.
No, you don't. They say these aquatic critters, which take their name from the fact that females give birth to fully developed snails that mysteriously appear, are present in several lakes throughout Georgia. They say it is yet unclear how the corkscrew-shaped snails infiltrated the latest waterway. But apparently what they do is they can damage boats.
Yeah.
And they can, just completely change out the whole ecosystem. Kind of like the invasive carp.
Looks like they can get into water systems, that sort of thing.
Oh, lovely.
Mess up the pumps, that sort of thing.
Damaging boats, obstructing access to water bodies, and ravaging ecosystems by outcompeting indigenous wildlife. So, that's what's happening.
Yeah. Bring in a bunch of French and have them eat them.
Yeah, there you go.
French like eating snails.
Yeah, they do.
Just say, hey, escargot, go to Georgia. All the escargot you need is right there. So, when Donald Trump says...
On day one, I will seal the border, stop the invasion, and send Joe Biden's illegal aliens the hell back home.
I think he needs to work on the snails as well. Now, I want to
go... how you had to use the curse word there to do it.
Yeah, but it's one that is FCC approved.
Yeah.
And it's a good, it's a legit news story, so I can air it.
You can, Brother Dan. I'm not going to tell on you.
Please don't. Please don't. All right, moving right along. By the way, can I just say that I've been wholly embarrassed this morning?
Why?
So, one of the ways that I've always felt like is a sign of old age is leaving your phone places that you shouldn't. So I'm in the middle of a segment.
Oh,
this was in the last hour. I'm in the middle of a segment, and one of the country guys...
one of those country guys up there.
Yeah.
I turned to my left.
Hey, partner. You left your earpiece.
Turned to my left, and he's holding my phone. And I'm like, why is he holding my phone? Oh, I left my phone in the bathroom. Oh. Well, that's awkward. So I think that is one of the first signs of old age is you start leaving your phone just wherever.
Yeah. I like how he knew it was yours. He must have been looking at the pictures. That matches that fella.
Now Dan's horrified.
Hey, partner.
Okay,
left your piece in the outhouse.
So just so we're clear, there's no naughty pictures on my phone.
You want some tickets to the rodeo?
And number 2.
You and the little lady?
Y'all sashay around.
Number 2 is I didn't know. I've been without my phone for like an hour and a half. I had no idea.
Way to go, man. You were
That's
free.
actually, see, I think that's a positive.
That is a positive.
That I
You were
was without my
free.
phone for an hour and a half.
Yeah, I remember a couple of summers ago, my phone stopped working. I didn't have one for a week.
Really?
Yeah. It was liberating.
It was liberating. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, though? The fact that I was without my phone for an hour and a half, it does boggle my mind because I'm never without it.
Only problem is my cornfield died on my farm town. And looks like
that's
my pigs
unfortunate.
needed watering.
Man.
But here's the question. Is that one of the first signs of getting older? Like, what is, because I'm like 56.
Still playing Farmtown, yes.
Is it still playing Farmtown? That's a sign of getting older?
Yes.
Okay. And Johnny, what about you? What's that first sign? Let's go to the phones. What is the first sign of getting older? I say that it's clearly leaving your phone in the bathroom and not even knowing that it's gone for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
For me, it's waking up at 2 a.m. and being simultaneously angry as 2 a.m. and I have to get up and happy I was able to get up.
Yeah.
You know what? Very good, Johnny. You know what? Super texters, F&M bank chatters. What is the first sign that you're getting old? Because I think forget about the whole hair thing. I think it's leaving your phone in the bathroom. I've actually never done that before.
But see, you're about the only person in this building that hasn't. Everybody has left their phone in the bathroom.
Dan, you left a pair of underwear on the
Yes.
banister of the stairs.
Yes.
I mean,
And I think you're the only one
Do you know what's funny?
in the building that left underwear.
Do you know what's funny? I'm unique. You know what's funny?
Yes, you are.
Is that we
That's
had
an
a
understatement.
we had a listener, Eric, come by. You guys remember Eric?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love Eric.
So I'm walking him, I think, out or up or whatever it was, and he says, "Oh, by the way, where was it?" And I said, "Where's what? The bathroom?" He said, "No, where was it? Where was it you left your underwear?" I'm like, "Really?"
So now this is going to be a tour stop for,
So now
for all these buses that come into
Yeah.
Nashville. Right in here, this is where Dan Mandis left his underwear.
Now it's a tour stop for people that want to stop by. It is 6:45 on WTN. Time to check the roads. Thank you very much. Sunday today, a high of 92, 74 now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So why is it that facts only matter to Democrats when they match their narrative? And then they're perfectly willing to lie any other time. So the question is crime going up or down? Because I'm seeing different stories everywhere. And so this is one of those issues, as you know, that you and I America will be voting on in November. Crime. It is high on the list of things people want to vote for, as it relates to. And so crime is on the list of issues people are concerned about. I wanted to point out that the Democrats are trying to spin that crime is actually going down, not up. Republicans are saying that it is going up because it is. The latest FBI statistics point to a historic drop, they say, in crime in the first quarter of this year, so says Attorney General Merrick Garland. And this after a year in which the murder rate fell at one of the fastest rates ever recorded, a top criminologist added. This was, by the way, from CNN. This should be good news for everybody, says criminologist Jeff Asher, who analyzed the FBI numbers, telling NBC News, but it's also early June and the trend of the nation's crime rate is always uncertain. But listen to these numbers, and then you tell me if you believe these numbers. They say the murder rate fell by 26.4% over the last year. Reported rapes decreased by 25.7%. Robberies fell by 17.8%. Aggravated assault fell by 12.5%, among other things. Now, Jay Town is a former federal prosecutor out of Alabama, and he says, no, this is fake news.
President Biden has presided over 3 of the 4 most murderous years
in the last quarter century. In fact, on average, he's averaging about 20,700 murders per year, whereas under Trump, it was a little north of 18,000. 2021 was the most murderous year in the last 25 years. And, part of the reason why we have to go by raw data as opposed to crime rates is we're getting bad data. We're seeing there's 19,000 law enforcement agencies in the country. They report to the FBI voluntarily. They can report some data, all data, or no data at all.
Right. So this is data manipulation. I'm sorry, where have we seen that before? Data manipulation. So part of the problem is how police departments, they report offenses to the FBI. The FBI a couple of years ago demanded that law enforcement agencies transition away from the system they used for decades to a new, and they say more detailed but onerous one. And so the new system turned out to be an absolute disaster. And so especially the bigger cities, it was impossible to use this system. And so they just stopped reporting on the statistics, the crime statistics, so that it looks like it's going down, but the reality is it's not. The system to report the crime and the statistics is just broken, courtesy of the Biden administration. That impacted the numbers, so the big cities don't even send in the numbers. So, of course, the numbers, they do look lower because they're not being reported because the Biden administration makes it impossible to report them. Listen to what they say. In 2019, 89% of agencies covering 97% of the population submitted data. But by 2021, that coverage plummeted to less than 63% of departments, overseeing just 65% of the population. So it's obviously making a difference. Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City all failed to submit crime data. I wonder if there's any crime going on in Chicago, Los Angeles, or New York City. So now the FBI has said, all right, you know what? If you want to go back to the old system, go ahead. But a lot of these cities have already tried to implement the new system. So now the whole thing is just chaos. But also remember, and I'll say it for all of us, also remember that you've got these soft on crime policies where if a guy walks in and he just steals $999.99 worth of stuff, they don't even bother to charge him anymore. The reality is, according to Jay Town, is that crime has actually gone up, and it's gone up a lot.
Everyone in law enforcement knows that if you want to know if crime is really going up or down, you track motor vehicle thefts. Motor vehicle thefts are up in this country 105% since 2019, and they've risen steadily every year under the Biden administration. And the 15 most violent cities in America, they're all run by Democrats that are mayors and Democrats that are DAs, which kind of goes back to why our data is incomplete.
Yeah, it's incomplete. But you see, again, the Democrats are trying to use this as some sort of a talking point, saying, well, under Joe Biden, the crime rate is going down. Well, the reality is it is going up, but the reporting, thanks to the Biden administration, is actually going down. It is 6:51 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Okay, remember, Michael Patrick Leahy is going to join us a little bit after 7, after the 7 o'clock news. Going to find out what the very latest is on his investigation into the Covenant shooters materials. It is all straight ahead on WTN. I want to save on some of the biggest names in streaming on the network made for streaming. X marks the spot, as in Xfinity. Now through June 30th, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And for just $15 a month, add the new Stream Saver. That includes Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Netflix. That's Xfinity's internet and Stream Saver for just $35 a month. All your favorites all in one place, only from my friends at Xfinity. So go ahead and binge some of those shows, stream some movies, and save some money all at the same time. For more watching and less spending, X marks the spot with Xfinity. Switch to Xfinity, the network made for streaming, and bring on the good stuff. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. pay. Restrictions apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Equipment taxes and fees extra after promo regular rates apply, currently $56 a month. Actual speeds vary. Stream Saver requires Xfinity Internet or TV, and price is subject to change. 6:52 on WTN. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Officials across Iowa scrambling to respond to historic flooding. We're talking about search and rescues all weekend long. Here in Nashville, customers shocked to learn of a random attack on a man just simply pumping gas. Car dealerships across the country dealing with operations outages due to a major cyber attack. President Biden's practicing for Thursday's debate while the First Lady is campaigning, and you got to hear what former President Trump's doing to prepare for the debate. Coming up at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.56 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Michael Patrick Leahy, Tennessee Star, is joining us after the news at 7. Stay close. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7 o'clock on the dot this Monday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Hottest days of the week start tomorrow. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Officials across Iowa are scrambling to respond to historic flooding in the state over the weekend, as has swamped towns and displaced entire communities.
It was not bad at all. It was just like a little bit on the road. And then like an hour later, our whole driveway was completely flooded. So it was rising very quickly.
That resident in Spencer, Iowa, major rivers cresting some 4 feet higher than previous records. The National Guard deploying helicopters to rescue people from rooftops. Right now in Nashville, Channel 4 says customers are shocked to learn of the random attack on a man at the Exxon gas station along Smith Springs Road near Percy Priest Lake on Thursday.
It's absolutely insane to think that, you just pumping your gas and somebody could walk out of the woods and stab you for no reason with no provocation. It's just, that's pretty insane to hear that happened here.
Yeah, the victim, Steven Sobolewski, is the bass player for the punk rock band Gloom Girl MFG. They had to cancel the first show because of this attack. He's got at least 5 jab wounds to the head and neck. By the way, that was the first show of their new tour that they had to cancel. Car dealerships across the country dealing with operations outages as CDK Global, a major software company, has fallen victim to a cyber attack. Here's Allison Kosick.
Several major auto companies, including Ford, Stellantis, and GM, confirm the hack is not just disrupting car maintenance and repairs. It's left thousands of dealers unable to process appointments or complete sales transactions, some turning to pen and paper. For prospective car buyers, it may mean delays with no immediate end in sight.
Yeah, I understand that Hyundai is affected too. Election 2024, while President Biden's practicing for Thursday's big debate, First Lady Jill Biden doing the campaigning.
Women put Joe Biden in the White House. Hey, and women are going to keep him there.
President Biden holed up at Camp David preparing for Thursday's debate. As for the former president, Mary Alice Parks tells us,
with the first presidential debate just 4 days away, former President Donald Trump asking his crowd in Philadelphia for strategy advice.
Should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history, or should I be nice and calm and let him speak?
Trump now saying that his VP pick will most likely be at the debate.
Yeah, make sure you join WTN for the big presidential debate watch party on Thursday at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro from 3 to 8. It's free. Any of you porch pirates listening this morning, you never know when that package you're stealing has a tracker on it. Listen to Rhiannon Alley's report on one city's new way to try to protect packages.
It's a problem experienced by more than 40% of Americans. And last year alone, there was an estimated $8 billion worth of stolen packages. ABC News riding along with members of Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department as they use packages equipped with tracking devices, hoping to catch thieves red-handed. Since the pilot program started in February, the 5th District has seen a 17% reduction in theft.
Market Numbers Report. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures up 134. S&P up 9. NASDAQ is flat. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Information fueled,
opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:07, Nashville's Morning News, sunny today and a high of 92, 74 now at WTN. I want to welcome on into the program our old buddy Michael Patrick Leahy. And Michael, of course, from the Tennessee Star. We've been keeping folks updated on what is going on with the Tennessee Star. The sketch is that Michael, you have been legally given material from the writings of the Covenant shooter, Audrey Hale, a leak, if you will. And Michael, you've been writing about all of it. You got the mother load, and I've been covering what you've been writing. We don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to bring you on because I was fascinated by one of the pieces that you put out. I think it was Friday, where you've been writing about, you know, these accusations against Vandy and how they didn't let anyone know, the authorities know, that Audrey Hale was having these murderous ideations as she went to Vandy's, psychiatric hospital. A father has written you a very disturbing email saying that he believes, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, but he believes that his daughter is sort of being coaxed or prodded into transitioning. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Late Thursday, Dan, we received an email message from a father, a distraught father, whose teenage daughter was admitted to Vanderbilt Psychiatric Hospital in 2020 and again briefly in 2021, been treated continuously since. Here's exactly what this father told us, quote, about his daughter. Quote, during her time at the psychiatric hospital, my daughter began mentioning a trans lifestyle and adopted a male name. And the father said basically that, quote, I have reason but no concrete proof to believe that the psychiatric hospital played a role in molding and shaping her into wanting to live a trans lifestyle, end quote.
So it's important to note that Vanderbilt has been very pro-transition in the past couple of years. We've all discovered they'd performed surgeries, I'm assuming prescribed the puberty blockers and provided therapy and all of this, perhaps encouraging, some could say, for these kids to transition. None of this really comes as a surprise, at least to me. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, back in 2018, the Daily Wire caught a medical doctor, part of Vanderbilt University Medical Center, bragging that transgender surgery was, quote, big money, end quote, for Vanderbilt University Medical Center. So obviously and apparently I've seen
Dr. Shane Taylor, by the way, for folks who may remember this story. That was Dr. Shane Taylor.
And I've seen reports that, of course, they don't do it now because of the uproar with the Tennessee General Assembly and the Tennessee General Assembly's response. They're not engaged in transgender surgery for minors anymore, but apparently they are still continuing transgender surgeries for adults. So it is all very, very troubling, Dan.
What did this father? He's got to be beside himself. Did he talk at all about the differences that he's seen in his daughter or in his child as all of this has been going on? Has it been something that has been pretty quick? Has it been going on for quite some time? What did he give any other details?
For a while. It's been going on for a while with this particular daughter of the very distraught father. And we've been looking into more information that the father's provided us. And it's all very troubling, Dan, very, very troubling.
It seems to me that the story in all of this now is how Vanderbilt failed to notify anyone that she had these murderous ideations, suicidal ideations or tendencies, thoughts of murder and suicide. And so I guess part of my question is this. They broke the law. That seems to be where this whole thing is going. They didn't tell the authorities, and now they are left open to civil action. They say, I'm reading all of this, the statute of limitations is a year. This happened 15 months ago. So how does all that work? If it turns out that Vanderbilt didn't tell the authorities and then Audrey Hale did what she did, that does, it seems to me, leave Vanderbilt open to some sort of civil liability. But if the statute of limitations is a year, this happened 15 months ago, I don't know about the judge. Maybe the judge is trying to run out the clock. I don't know. But talk about how the statute of limitations plays into all of this.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Dan. And the question is, when does the statute of limitations begin? Does it begin on March 27th, 2023, the day of the attack, or does it begin in June of 2024 when we first reported that, according to police records, Vanderbilt University, their Vanderbilt University Medical Center mental health professionals had been told by Audrey Elizabeth Hale that she wanted to kill her father and engage in a mass shooting at a school, and failed in their duty to warn, as outlined in Tennessee Code Annotated 33-3-206. Yep. I think a lot of attorneys are going to be looking at that, Dan.
You reported on a number of antidepressants that she was on, medications, anti-anxiety, these kinds of things. Have you been able to get a handle on how all of those would have impacted her? I know that they were, again, anti-anxiety meds with all kinds of side effects. Have you been able to tell, was she taking them at the same time? When was she taking them? When were they prescribed? And what the side effects would have been?
Yeah, good question. So I'm not an expert on the side effects of these drugs. But let me tell you what we know. First, we have seen no evidence that she was taking any drugs related to a transition. That's point number one. Doesn't mean there isn't any. We just have seen no evidence. But number two, and we have lots of evidence, documents that we've obtained legally from the records of the Metro Nashville Police Department and many crime scene photos, which we have. We haven't published any of them. These are separate and distinct from the writings, which are currently under review by Judge Lashia Miles. What I can tell you is, yes, she was under SSRIs. She was taking 4 or 5 different SSRIs. Your pharmacists and doctors can tell you that these all have very dangerous side effects, one degree or another. Our belief is that they began probably taking this particular mixture around 2019, when we believe, from the evidence that we've seen, that she was involved in a 30-day intensive outpatient program at Vanderbilt University. Her psychologist wanted her to be involuntarily committed at that time, but for some reason she wasn't involuntarily committed. She went through a 30-day intensive outpatient program, And we have images of the prescription bottles from around that time.
Yeah.
So that's when we can go back to at least to 2019 when she was taking all these SSRIs.
And you've been reporting all this and legally reporting on this, that this is all very legal. You know, leaks happen and it's all part of journalism. How rough has this been for you and the folks at the Tennessee Star? I bet you're under a lot of attacks, aren't you?
It's not really rough at all. I mean, the first, when the judge sent this show cause hearing order on Monday, June the 10th, and said, show up, and it was based upon a media call from Stacey Cameron at WSMV, where he told her two things that were false. He claimed that we published documents that were under review. That was false. We haven't published any documents under her review. We have published stories based upon what we've learned in those documents. He also claimed we violated a court order. We haven't. That's entirely false. And then he suggested to her that she charge us with contempt of court, and she did basically said show cause hearing order later that day to show up and explain why she shouldn't put me in jail for contempt of court. We saw that late Monday, June 10th, and said, what's going on here? I showed up in court on Monday a week ago today, and the judge talked about anything but the show cause hearing order subject.
Michael, she had to get the lay of the land.
She was looking for the landscape of the land, the landscape of the land. But the hanging chat on this is, after a week ago today, she said, well, I'm still looking at filing a court order to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate and prosecute you, Leahy, for, these are my words, the non-crime of exercising my First Amendment rights.
Right.
She still hasn't, that's still hanging over my head. She's supposedly going to issue an order sometime soon. I'm not worried about it because she's totally in the wrong.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it plays out. By the way, if your listeners want to help out, lots of legal fees here.
I can imagine.
Help out. Go to TennesseeStar.com/donate if they want to help out.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. And we'll keep covering what you're doing, and you're doing great work. And appreciate you coming on to Nashville's Morning News. It is 7:17, a little late, but worth the time to check the roads. Sunny today, a high of 92, 74 now. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You will not be surprised by this headline. According to new polling, confidence in colleges and universities continue to plummet to new lows. Now, I'm going to throw in, they continue to plummet while the cost of tuition continues to skyrocket. Confidence in institutions of higher education among Americans continues to plummet to new lows, according to recent national polls commissioned by the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. Of course, you know, there isn't any real right to individual expression and speech if you're on a college campus these days. That may be part of the problem. The polls, one conducted back in February with a follow-up in May, asked a sample of American households how much confidence, if any, do you have in U.S. colleges and universities. The results were then compared to a Gallup poll that asked a similar question back in 2023. On average, most Americans surveyed in the May poll reported some confidence in U.S. colleges and universities, 42% versus 40% in Gallup, the foundation reported. But compared to that 2023 Gallup poll, fewer Americans reported a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in colleges and universities, 28% versus 36% in Gallup, and more Americans reported very little confidence or none at all, 30 versus 22% in Gallup. Now, that's not real surprising because of what we've seen over the last, what has it been? 4 months, 4 months since all of those things were going on college campuses. But see, it's not just about the pro-Hamas or pro-Palestinian protests or the camps. It's a lot more than that, because we've known that these colleges have been woke for a long time. We also know that these colleges have been going after strictly conservatives for a long time, and conservative thought, conservative free speech. This is what the colleges are all about these days, is attacking the freedom of speech of conservatives. That has never been more clear than it is today. And I believe that is why more and more Americans and more American families have stopped sending their kids to colleges, and they're sending them to trade schools. They're sending them to vocational schools, whatever it is. But the question ultimately always is going to be, is college worth the cost? That is something that maybe you are grappling with right now as your kids are wondering what is the next step in their lives, whether it's they're a junior in high school, a senior in high school, who knows? But what we do know is that the American people are looking at colleges, and they are saying that it is clearly not worth the money. 721 on Nashville's Morning News. What do you think? The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. So who do you trust when it comes to your money? Now, me, I turned to Paul Winkler years ago, and I'm still a client today. Now, a lot of these other financial folks, they do say different things, but those same people all have something to sell. So, of course, they're pitching their own products. Now, if you worked for a car company, wouldn't you say that your car is the best? If you're selling that car, you're going to sell it. Well, it's the same thing with banks and insurance agents who sell investment products. Now, Paul Winkler is looking out for your best interests, and he's not going to try and sell you something. He's actually going to teach you how to relax about money. Now, you need to know that I get paid every time I do these commercials, but I wouldn't be doing them if I didn't believe in Paul Winkler and his guidance. So call him, mention my name when you do, 615-851-1950, 615-851-1950 for Paul Winkler. You can always find him online. It is paulwinkler.com. 722, Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Brother Dan, we've got rooftop rescues in historic flooding in the Midwest. Nashville's random stabbing attack. Suspect on the run. Major car dealerships struggling under a cyber attack on a major software provider. And the Tennessee Vols force a Game 3 of the College World Series at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com. and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com. $7:28, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. Hey, coming up next, I asked sort of an open question earlier, which is, what is the first sign of aging? What is the first sign of getting old? Because earlier today, Pappy here left his phone in the bathroom at work, and it was without me for 90 minutes. I had absolutely no idea. And part of the dynamic here, friends, is we used to have a guy here who worked here. I'm just going to leave it there. And do you guys know who I'm talking about? Nope. He left his phone in the bathroom all the time. Don't say who it was. Well, he used to work here, older guy. He used to leave his phone in the bathroom all the time. And it's like, well, I know who was here.
All right, we leave that.
And now here I am doing the same darn thing. So what is the first sign of getting old? People just flooding the super text line with comments.
It was in fuego.
It was in fuego. One guy says, you know that you're old when you're looking for your phone while you're talking on it.
Yeah. That's
I've totally done that.
Yeah, I think I have too.
Have you?
Yeah. And there's another thing too, and I've done this. My daughter or my son tell me that they love me, and I say, I don't know where the remote is. I ask your mom.
Yeah, you know what? I think Amy once told me that she reconsidered marrying me because I was on the phone, and then it starts screaming, "Honey, where's my phone?"
Yeah,
and she's like, "You're talking on it.
Where did I put my sunglasses?
You're wearing them.
They're on your head."
Yep. Yeah. It's happened to me, too. Yep. All right, 7:29, Nashville's Morning News on WTN, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Now, this is a company that I've been a customer of for years. I think it's been about 10 years now that I've been a Beehive member. And one of the reasons why I've been a Beehive member for so long is because they're always changing those benefits to meet your needs. So what you want to do, you You want to go to their website. It's busybhvac.com. They are, by the way, your Rude Pro partner. And see what all the benefits are for this week. Again, they're always changing. It is really hot. The last thing you want is for your air conditioning to go out. You need to have it maintained with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. 615-775-7833. When you are a Beehive member, you are saving money in the long run by maintaining your system along the way. 615-775-7833. busybhvac.com. Again, your Rude Pro partner.
7:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Here comes more heat and humidity. Let's see. Yeah, it is June. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. They're dealing with historic flooding in parts of Iowa where Bailey Mower says water appeared to come out of nowhere in her Spencer home.
It was not bad at all. It was just like a little bit on the road. And then like an hour later, our whole driveway was completely flooded. So it was rising very quickly.
More than 250 water rescues across 22 Iowa counties. Here in Nashville, Channel 4's Jordan James says the search is on for a suspect after what police say was a random stabbing attack on a man pumping gas near Percy Priest Lake on Thursday.
He told officers that the suspect came from the woods and began attacking him. The two would end up getting in a fight, but during the process, he was stabbed more than 5 times in the head and neck area. This is believed to have been a random attack since the victim claims to not know the suspect. While he continues to be treated at the hospital, customers are left shaken by what took place.
Yeah, the suspect described as a black man wearing a blue hooded sweatshirt and dark pants. Anyone recognizing him from the images posted online asked to call Crime Stoppers. Car dealerships across the nation say they can't process service and repairs or even sales due to a cyber attack on a major software provider.
In a statement, CDK saying it promptly launched an investigation, adding, "We have begun the restoration process. It will take several days to complete."
It's unclear at this point what, if any, consumer information has been compromised. Bloomberg is reporting the hackers are demanding tens of millions of dollars in ransom to restore operations, and that CDK intends to pay it, though discussions are subject to change.
That's Allison Kosick reporting. And turning to sports.
And Tennessee forces a game 3. They win it 4-1.
Yeah, the call there on ESPN. The Vols avenging that College World Series Game 1 loss to the Aggies. Now one of them will win its first national title in baseball when they meet tonight. First pitch at 6. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
7:36, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Just a few more. You know you're getting old when.
You leave the house without any pants on.
Well, yeah, that's really old. But no, Rocco says, or really drunk. No, Rocco says, first sign of getting old is when you start watching the Weather Channel more than any other channel. Well, that's true.
And you just leave it on.
It's just constantly on.
Honey, it's raining in Missouri.
Whoo, boy, they're getting a lot of rain over there in Missouri.
Tornado warning there in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yep. 2785, you know you are old when you somehow injure yourself in your sleep. I do that all the time.
Or reach for a coffee cup.
Reaching for a coffee cup as well. Let's see. 9345 says forgetting to zip your zipper. Yep.
Or thinking you have a zipper.
Yeah, that's or you know what? You
been getting frustrated and yelling at your family.
I've got a good one. You know you're getting old when you no longer wear pants that require a zipper. Like everything is sweatpants.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny when I stepped aside from being like in management here.
Yeah.
I had fantasies of wearing sweatpants like every single day. Haven't done it once.
The sweatpants and the white sleeveless T-shirt.
It was. Listen, my official work uniform. Was going to be sweatpants, like a ratty sweatshirt, and I was going to wear like Crocs with socks. That's what I wanted to do.
Dude. Yeah, that's...
And smoking a vape.
Yeah.
Amy wouldn't let me out of the house.
That's getting up there, dude.
Amy was like, you know what? Have some self-respect, man. That's not you're not leaving the house like that. Okay, fine.
Dude, put a chain on your glasses and start wearing a sweater every day.
That's what I need to do. Put a chain on my glasses.
Yes.
Now, let me see here. And start reading your mail.
Yeah, and start reading my mail. I don't, no, you're right. You're right.
Start going to buffets at 3:30 in the afternoon.
But see, with our schedule, I eat dinner like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
So, I saw Dan Mandis at the Chinese buffet.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
You become a regular at the Lubies.
Oh, yeah, they know me by name. They know me by name. All right, moving right along.
Somebody hurry up with that cream of corn.
Send them in, 615-737-9986. Let's see here. So we had a bit of a situation in Los Angeles, and it got really crazy. So that is, I want you to think about this. Again, Los Angeles, where you have a synagogue, a temple. You got a whole bunch of Jewish folks trying to go to temple, and all of these pro-Palestinian types are in front of the synagogue. They won't let the Jewish people go in. And I don't know about you, but this is all over the internet this morning, where this is getting clearly really old because you've got a bunch of these pro-Hamas people. There's a woman who is in a headlock. She is getting beaten up by one of these dudes. A pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas guy is beating up this woman. And they've got their pro-Palestine flags from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. That's what they're chanting. Again, you've got all of this going on. The police actually show up in riot gear because they won't allow these Jewish people to go into synagogue. They arrive and they're just blocking it. And so the police had heard about this and they show up in riot gear. There was one couple who show up for this protest, and they have their keffiyehs on, and they've got all of their signs and everything. They arrest the couple. They found a toddler. How horrific is this? And you wonder how this becomes generational. They arrest a couple that had a toddler in the back seat wearing one of these keffiyehs, and so you've got this story where the videos are just horrendous, where it does come to fisticuffs. And all the Jewish folks want to do is go to synagogue. That's all they want to do. They asked this local rabbi, what he thought about all of this.
It doesn't belong here. I don't think the Jewish people will go in front of a mosque or Christian people go in front of a mosque do such a thing. Nobody will accept this. But here, when it comes to Jews and Israel, everything is kosher. Everything is okay.
Yeah, I mean, that is insane. And no, Jewish people would not stop Muslims from going into mosques. Neither would Christians. That seems to be a Muslim thing. And he is right. They should be arrested. They should be charged with hate crimes, to be honest. The only reason they're going after these folks is because they are Jewish. And we're seeing this all across the country. We're actually seeing this all across the world. And so this is just the latest example of, anti-Semitism. This is just the latest example where Jewish people are being targeted. And this is not a political rally. This is anti-Semitic. This is, I don't know what you would call it, trespassing. Certainly we saw a lot of assault going on as well. And by the way, in the news today, just to catch up on the whole Israel-Palestine thing, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he expects the fighting to wind down in Gaza soon. That is certainly good news because now he's dealing with fighting Hezbollah, another Iranian-backed terrorist organization. So just when you're wrapping up, in Rafah, you're wrapping up, annihilating Hamas at least the best that you can, now you're dealing with Hezbollah. And meantime, we've got Joe Biden waffling all over the place. So with all of this going on around America and the world, one guy, he wrote me the other day, and I thought this was interesting. And he said, you know what? He said, I had not been to synagogue or temple in years. And now I'm going these days. He says, I've reconnected with my faith. He was, he's air quoting this, non-practicing. He was a non-practicing Jew, and he had not been to synagogue since he was a kid. But all of this collective anti-Semitism around the world really is reawakening his faith. And I read an article. It was interesting. This guy sent me this note because I read an article about this just this weekend where you have a lot of these non-practicing Jewish folks who are reconnecting with their faith. They're going back to synagogue. They're going back to the temple. Because when your culture is being attacked, and that's what's happening. When you have a bunch of these pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist organization, these pro-Palestinian people that literally won't let you go into your place of worship, and that's okay with a certain segment of the population, Democrats, well, then I can see why that would reconnect you with that faith. By the way, Jerry Seinfeld, very quickly, Jerry Seinfeld was heckled yet again. I've got the great audio. It is straight ahead, 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. As far as your weather today, sunny, a high of 92. Right now, 77 degrees at Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. So Jerry Seinfeld is under attack. And so you've got all of these pro-Palestinian people that are buying tickets to his shows. Johnny or Ken, can you look up what is the average price of a Jerry Seinfeld ticket?
I'm on it, Brother Dan Mandis.
You're on it, Ken. Thank you very much. Because I'm wondering just how much these people are paying to stand up in the middle of a comedy show and start screaming about Jews.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free!
But it was the U.S. comedian who had the last laugh.
Oh, you're back! They're back! The protesters are back! I missed you!
The crowd booing the activists out of the arena.
Oh, you're not doing well. Here's the other thing I think you need to go back and tell who's ever running your organization. We just gave more money to a Jew. That cannot be a good plan for you.
How many times have I been talking about this? Maybe Jerry Seinfeld was actually listening to me here in Middle Tennessee.
Seats start at $84. Average price is $373 buckaroos.
$373 to stand up and do this.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
And they can't even do it in sync. You notice that? They couldn't even get it together and do it at the same time.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
And then the one guy stops doing it. Did you notice that? So the guy starts and then he stops and the woman continues on.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
It actually sounds like he's saying pass the pepper. Whatever.
Pass the
It is. That's what he sounds like. Does he not sound like he's saying pass the pepper?
Maybe he is.
Listen to this.
From the river to...
It does. It sounds like Biden, actually. Anyway, so Jerry Seinfeld, he starts heckling them right back. And I do love that. So average price was, you said $330-something dollars?
Yeah, 373 buckaroos, Brother Dan.
You know, if I'm Jerry Seinfeld, I'm like, hey, man, thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Appreciate it. You gave money to a Jew. Here's more from Jerry Seinfeld.
Such great audiences, such nice people. Even the protester wasn't that bad. He wasn't bad. Wouldn't it be horrible if he was enjoying the show? And then he had to turn and think, I just want to hear one more bit, and then I'll screw it. He waited a long time. He was having a good time.
You know, pretty soon Jerry Seinfeld's going to be like, good night, everybody. And then from the river to the sea, they'll start right when he ends the show so that at least they can see the entire show.
Yeah.
And he can add, Palestine may be free. The show isn't.
Good, Johnny.
Way to go. That's gold, Johnny. That's gold.
That is gold.
That's way to go, Brother Johnny B.
I do, I love all the... I don't watch a lot of TV over the weekend, but, I was watching something. I don't even know what it was. I think it was MSNBC.
Weather Channel.
It was not the Weather Channel, Ken. And, but they're talking about all the all the white supremacism that is out there today. And they're trying to tie it, of course, back to Donald Trump, all of that. And the way that I see all this, like, I don't see a lot of this, and I'm going to air quote this white supremacism. I see a lot of anti-Jew stuff. I see a lot of anti-Semitism.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
But, I would love to see the networks, your MSNBC and ABC, CBS, and so forth. I would love to see them do a story specifically on the rise of anti-Semitism and tie it back to the Democrats and their anti-Israel policies. I mean, look at Ilhan Omar. Look at, to a lesser extent, admittedly, AOC. Look at Rashida Tlaib. Look at the anti-Israel movement within the Democrat Party. Look at Joe Biden. To get more political, look at Joe Biden as he has been looking the other way on those Iranian sanctions, allowed Iran to get millions and millions of dollars selling oil, and then Iran turns around and they give it to Hamas and Hezbollah. Then they go and they attack Israel. I mean, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, it's not really a rabbit hole. It's actually pretty simple. I just did it in like 45 seconds. You can tie a lot of this back to Joe Biden. And then, of course, you have Joe Biden and all these other folks that are saying, oh, yeah, we need to cancel college debt. Well, one of the reasons why they want to cancel college debt is because they want kids and young adults to go to college because that's where the indoctrination happens. And on it goes.
By the way, on the subject of white supremacy, I guess you saw over the weekend where the left-leaning fact-checking website Snopes finally acknowledged that Trump never called neo-Nazis very fine people.
I did see that, Ken.
So what are we, like 5 years later?
Yeah, 5 years later.
7 years later. They're finally,
7.5 years. You're right, Ken. And they finally admitted that. Now, here's my question. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then will somebody please call out Joe Biden for spreading fake news or maybe cheap fakes? Because he has been saying for, 6 years at least, that the reason why he ran is because Donald Trump said that white supremacists were good people.
Yeah.
Or fine people.
Yep.
Because, I've been calling that out, and talk show hosts across America have been calling this out for years.
Since it happened.
Since it happened.
Yeah, he cleared everybody, any person in their right mind knew what he said when he did it.
I was on that fateful day, I was on WMAL in Washington, D.C. doing a weekend show, and that whole thing broke. And I remember at the time listening to his speech saying, what I heard what he said. And then all of a sudden I see on Twitter blowing up that the president of the United States said that white supremacists were fine people. And I'm like, that's not what he said.
He said they should be condemned totally.
That's there's so many. So if you listen to, and I'll see if I can find it. If you listen to that 4-minute exchange that Donald Trump had with the media, and they were going back and forth, and it was stunning to say the least. You're right. He condemned all the bad guys on both sides. Then he talked about how there were protesters that were very fine people, but that were not the radicals.
Right.
He said there were people that were practicing their First Amendment right to free speech. Some wanted the statue removed. Other people didn't. But they weren't harassing people. They weren't yelling at people. They weren't attacking people. They weren't the radicals. And that's what Donald Trump was saying.
I knew what he was saying the minute he said it. I knew what he was saying.
Well, but
they used it, man.
Just like January 6th, this is what the media does, and this is what the Democrats do. They politicize everything, even when it is clear that they're lying about whatever it is that happened. It's just what they do. Yeah. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. I love my friends at Zero Res. Now, sadly, Zero Res, they've been out to my home several times now, thanks to, of course, the dog and all the storms that we've had lately. So they come over, they clean up all of that mud and all of that mess as well with professional cleaners who are on time, and yes, they do a fantastic job. Now, your carpets are going to be insanely clean because only Zero Res cleans with powered water. No soap, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. So yes, your carpets are going to be insanely clean. They also have a great deal going on right now. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned for only $99. You're also going to get a free dryer vent cleaning with air duct cleaning and 20% off of tile cleaning as well. Now, you know that Zero Res is rated the #1 cleaning system by an independent testing lab. That is right. I can tell you that Zero Res is #1 in my house. Now, don't forget that great deal. Call it the Dan deal. You call them up. 3 rooms of carpets cleaned for only $99. Free dryer vent cleaning with an air duct cleaning as well. And 20% off of tile cleaning. Restrictions may apply. Call them 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com. 754 on Nashville's Morning News. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Hundreds of water rescues after historic flooding in Iowa. And while President Biden is secluded at Camp David to practice for the big debate, you got to hear what former President Trump is doing. Coming up at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 8 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Hottest days of the week start tomorrow, so enjoy today. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Iowa, at least 250 water rescues across 22 counties after more than 15 inches of rain over the weekend. This man is traumatized.
And hearing terrible stories from other people about, disabled people in wheelchairs on the first floors while it's flooding. It was pretty terrifying. Seeing the babies come out of houses, not something I ever want to see again.
Yeah, right now in Nashville, Channel 4 says customers are traumatized to learn a man was randomly attacked while pumping gas at the Exxon station along Smith Springs Road near Percy Priest Lake on Thursday.
It's absolutely insane to think that, you just pumping your gas and somebody could walk out of the woods and stab you for no reason with no provocation. It's just, that's pretty insane to hear that happened here.
Yeah, the victim says he was pumping his gas Thursday when a man came out of the woods and attacked him with a knife for no reason. Says he doesn't know this guy. He suffered at least 5 jabs to his head and neck. Car dealerships across North America facing major disruptions after dual cyber attacks crippled software provider CDK Global. Here's Allison Kosick.
Several major auto companies, including Ford, Stellantis, and GM, confirm the hack is not just disrupting car maintenance and repairs. It's left thousands of dealers unable to process appointments or complete sales transactions.
Yeah, I've been told Hyundai, too. Election 2024. President Biden secluding himself at Camp David for the weekend to prepare for the big debate on Thursday, but not the First Lady.
Women put Joe Biden in the White House. Hey, and women are going to keep him there.
As for the former president, Mary Alice Park says Trump's staying on the campaign trail before heading to Atlanta later this week.
With the first presidential debate just 4 days away, former President Donald Trump asking his crowd in Philadelphia for strategy advice.
Should I be tough and nasty and just say you're the worst president in history, or should I be nice and calm and let him speak?
Trump now saying that his VP pick will most likely be at the debate.
Now you make sure to join WTN for the debate everybody's talking about. That's going to be Thursday. Presidential debate watch party at WTN at Hop Springs and Murfreesboro. Going to start at 3, end at 8, and it's free. Women who support abortion rights are expected to rally at the state capitol today to mark 2 years since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, left it up to the states to decide. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac says it's expected to draw a considerable crowd. Comes just before a new abortion trafficking law goes into effect next month.
Tennessee is one of 14 states that stop nearly all abortions. And starting next month, anyone who takes a minor out of state to get an abortion could face criminal and civil penalties.
Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures up 104. S&P up 2. NASDAQ down 30. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Information fueled.
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
8:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Every morning I come into work, and I'm always so excited. And the reason why I'm so excited is because I get to talk about this stuff that I love to talk about every single day. And one of my pet peeves is people who see what's going on in the world around us and they're apathetic. They just don't care. They'd rather watch SpongeBob. They don't understand how important it is to be informed about the news of the day and being able to not only be informed about it, but so that you can come up with really a political opinion and decide who you're going to vote for in any given election. You see, it is really important to be passionate about our country and our great state. It is important to understand the issues that impact all of us. We cannot afford to have apathy. We cannot afford to be ignorant. And that's why I wanted to have Dr. Ben Graham on the radio program this morning. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us. The book that you have written is really good. I haven't read the whole thing, but I like a lot of it. Ignorance and Apathy, Two of America's Deadliest Sins. Dr. Ben Graham. Now, I've got to ask, are you related to Billy Graham?
Hey, Dan, thank you so much for having me on. And we have a running joke in our family. When you're born a Graham, it's congratulations, it's a preacher. And I have a fifth-generation pastor and raised around ministry all my life. And one of the things I'm thankful for is that my family taught me the importance of being engaged and being knowledgeable about what is going on. And, so many people love our nation. They love the freedom we have. They love the experience. That's why so many people want to come to America. They know how awesome it is. They've heard how awesome it is to live here, and yet so many people don't understand why we are the nation we are, because they don't have the knowledge of how we became a great nation, and most don't care about keeping up with that. And what I'm finding is, living here in Tennessee, is so many people are moving to Tennessee from other states, and they're shocked by how many people here in Tennessee are not engaged or really not knowledgeable about what's going on. And the reason, these people coming from places like California, I think, are involved and engaged is because they've seen what happens when people are apathetic to what is happening. You lose what you have. And that's something that's happening here in our nation. We are seeing quickly that we are losing the freedom. We live in a day and time, I heard you talking about it earlier. We live in a day and time where there's a lot of chaos. The people that are supporting Hamas have no idea what they're really supporting. And so we live in a day of confusion. We live in a day and time where people just don't know and they just don't care. And I think I can talk especially to believers. I think they always think, well, God said, there's going to be perilous times that are going to come. And so we're just not going to worry about it. And God never instructed us to live that kind of a life. And so we're seeing the results of people being apathetic or being ignorant to what really is happening in our nation.
Was there one incident that happened that inspired you to write Ignorance and Apathy, Two of America's Deadliest Sins?
Well, I think it was a combination of things. Probably 10 years ago, I started going around the nation and trying to get pastors engaged. And what I found is most pastors said, well, politics is no place for a preacher. And I don't even think it's politics. I think it's just speaking on moral issues. But it helped me understand. They didn't understand, because back in the Revolutionary War days, it was pastors that engaged. Peter Muhlenberg, who, is known as the Black Robe Regiment preacher, who preached out of Ecclesiastes, there's a time for war. And he said that time has come, and he took off his black robe and he went out and fought. And his brother, who was a preacher, wrote a scathing letter to him. How can you, being a man of the cloth, be engaged? And his brother Frederick, about 6 months later, lost his house, his church, his family nearly killed. And he realized being neutral didn't work. And actually, Frederick Muhlenberg would go on to become the first Speaker of the House. And I could tell you story after story. When Paul Revere is writing to warn that the British are coming, he goes to Jonas Clark's house, who is a preacher, who was actually hosting Hancock and Samuel Adams. And it was Jonas Clark, Pastor Jonas Clark, that got the folks engaged. And, we could talk about the Connecticut Constitution that was written by a pastor. And so, it's important for us to understand our history, and then it's important for us to understand why. And so I found a lot of pastors were not knowledgeable about our history. I found a lot of people weren't knowledgeable. I think that was part of it. I was blessed to get to be a part of the faith team at the White House when Trump was in office. And, what I found was I had friends that, they were so ignorant to what was going on because they listened to mainstream media. And I think anybody that has a little common sense can understand that the media is not the friend of truth. And so mainstream media simply just continues to report false things. And, I heard you guys talk about it earlier that, they're finally acknowledging that Trump didn't say what they were accusing him of saying, which, I think it'd be good if they would go back and correct all the false reporting that they've done. But I think it was a combination of things that really helped me understand that, we've got to do something to encourage people. And so praying about it this year, going into the election year, I asked God, give me something to do this year. I got asked to do a lot of political events, and, a lot of people are looking for policies, they're looking for a political party, they're looking for a president to fix our nation. And really, it's much deeper than that. And so we started a tour this year called By the Word Tour that we've been going on. And we've really been pushing our new book, Ignorance and Apathy, Two of America's Deadliest Sins. And we've tried to write what I think is a remedy that can help our nation. And the most important thing is for people to just be engaged. I know politics can be a thing that gets overwhelming at times, but find places that are good sources like your program and others where we can be engaged and hear what's going on. And then research for ourselves. Just don't take somebody's word for it. I tell people all the time as a pastor, don't just take my word for what I'm saying. Get in God's word and find out, is this match up? And so I think the same is true when you hear news. Don't just take it as the gospel. Look into it and see if it's true or not, and then be knowledgeable of what's going on and then be engaged.
Dr. Ben Graham is joining us. Ignorance and Apathy, Two of America's Deadliest Sins is the book. Coming up, we're going to talk a little bit about, you've mentioned the churches, and I agree. You've mentioned the media, and I agree as well. I want to talk about parenting, which I believe is a lost art, coming up next. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you, Jack. Sunny today, a high of 92, and it's now 80 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dr. Ben Graham is joining us, and as I just mentioned, wrote the book Ignorance and Apathy, Two of America's Deadliest Sins. And you mentioned the churches. You mentioned, of course, the media and Americans ignorantly falling for the spin of the media. Can we talk about parenting for a moment? Because I think that there is ample examples that parenting as an art form has most certainly, folks have lost their way, because I just think that there's a lot of parents who are not doing the job that they should be doing.
Absolutely. And I think it's, the society we live in today, the participation trophies, the, parents have this, attitude that, my child could never be wrong. And so, instead of supporting maybe the authorities, staff, whoever it might be, when their child gets in trouble, they get irate. And, I go back to, Michael Jordan in the 9th grade was cut from his basketball team. And I love the fact that his parents didn't go to the coaches and say, you missed this, you didn't treat my child fairly. They told their son, look, if you're going to make it, you're going to have to get better. And I think that's something we're missing today. So often parents are trying to be best friends with their kids. And so they fail to actually teach them, instruct them, and give them the truth. And, our education system it's so messed up, and our kids get so indoctrinated in these schools. And part of my thing, Dan, not only am I a father of 4 boys, but about 10 months ago, I became a grandfather. My oldest son and his wife gave us our first grandchild, and we have a beautiful granddaughter. And so I think about the future that they're going to face if we don't fix the problems that we have. And we as parents have done a horrible job. And, a lot of people have the attitude, this generation just doesn't care or whatever. Well, they're a reflection of what we've taught them. And so we failed to really teach this generation. And so many of our education system has not taught the truth of the history of our nation. So our kids are really ignorant as to the truth of the founding of this great nation. And so, when you hear of things like the governor in Louisiana wanting to put the 10 Commandments back in the classrooms, I applaud it because the research is there, that just having those things hung up impacts the way people think, because we're a society that needs absolutes. Even though the world tells us there are no absolutes, we need absolutes in our life. We need things that guide us and tell us this is right, this is wrong. And so, I think we've not done a great job at reaching this next generation.
Let me ask you. I think that for those that I would deem and you would deem ignorant, I think that with so much information out there, there's a willful ignorance in this country right now that is driving me nuts.
Absolutely. And I think it's, people, what I find, because I have people asking this, like, where do you find the truth? Because, nowadays, you can Google it and find every opinion. And even now, it seems like people are getting good at spinning it so well that, you read something that you and I may know is absolutely false. I remember the first time I met Bill Clinton, he was the governor. And we were at a funeral, and he come by. I was about 11 or 12, and he came by and he, rubbed my head and, kind of messed my hair up. I looked at my dad. I was like, Dad, he's this old guy messing my hair up. He goes, that's the governor of Arkansas. We met him, and he was super friendly. He knew a lot about my family. And when he left, my dad said, you would think this guy's a great guy, but I know the truth. This is how society, and we see things that we know this is not true, and yet people spin it so well. And so people are like, how do we find the truth these days? And, I think it starts with, for me as a believer, it starts with, does it match up with my moral values that I've received from the Word of God? And then, you have to do your due diligence. Just reading one article is not going to be enough. And so you have to study some of these things out and really understand the source that you're getting your information from, and understanding who they are. And there are times where people, even on the right, if they're not careful, they might try to spin something. And so it's like, let's really do our due diligence. Is this true? And can I verify this? I think that's important. And, I go back to, our children. One of the things that we can do is, even in naming our children, when you name your child, that has an impact in their life. And I only say that because you got Ken working for you. And, if his name is just Ken, it means one's range of knowledge or sight. But if his name is Kenneth, it means he's born of fire or good looking. And so I'm hoping his name is Kenneth, because that makes a big difference. And I say that jokingly, but how often do we fail to really take time with our kids? We're busy trying to raise them up for sports. We're busy trying to raise them up for certain things. But, have we ever sat down with our children and really talked to them about our nation? Have we talked to them about current events? I think there's an anxiety going on in our homes with kids and family, because we all hear enough news to know that there's a lot of chaos in our country. We hear enough of that. And unfortunately, I think that's why some people fear President Trump. The media put so much chaos out there when he was there, even though all the facts would show that our nation was much stronger in every aspect. We were safer, all those things. The media put such a scare. And so people are living in anxiety. My doctorate degree is in clinical counseling. This is what I, deal with people. And people are anxious. And so that's part of the reason I get that they want to separate from politics. It can bring anxiety, but the only way we're going to fix our nation is we must engage again. And we have to, get over our anxiety a little bit and say, you know what, we've got to fix this nation. And it's not going to happen with one or two people. We all as citizens have to get re-engaged. And so when we hear the media tell us, our vote doesn't matter, when we hear people tell us we can't make a difference, we have to find a way to get re-engaged so that we can make a difference.
Well, and the thing is, and you're absolutely right, I think people can become overwhelmed by politics. I think people can get, confused and stressed out and all of these things. But if they take the time to understand it and understand what both sides are saying, and then you can form an opinion, to me, once you understand it, then you are more engaged and you become more interested in that. And that was part of my journey when I, started discovering politics in my early 20s, and my dad was teaching me all about it, and he was a conservative. I was a liberal because I didn't understand any of it. And then my dad slowly but surely started teaching me how the way that I thought was wrong, and he brought me over to the conservative side. And I think that there's not enough parents that are doing that, or at the very least arming their kids with the tools so that they can make up their own mind and give them the advice on how to get all the information that they need. I think that's a big part of parenting. What's your website, and how can people get your book?
Absolutely. It's pastorbengraham.org. Pastorbengraham.org. They can go there. And Dan, you're right. I learned this in '92 when I went to Russia and I went to other communist countries. You see what they don't have when the government controls everything. And I think it makes a difference. And so we've got to give the knowledge to our children, to our grandchildren. We've got to teach them the truth. And that's the only way we're going to fix our society.
Great stuff, Dr. Ben Graham. Ignorance and apathy, two of America's deadliest sins. Thank you very much for joining us here on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And he's absolutely spot on. And I enjoyed that conversation. 822 on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mandis here. Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 11,000 five-star reviews. They're going to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Now, this is hassle-free selling with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. They've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years. Matter of fact, they've helped over 58,000 families sell their homes. Now, one of our listeners, Ashley, says Mark Spain's real estate knowledge of the market and strategy made selling my home easy. She's already recommended Mark Spain Real Estate to some of her friends. Call them today. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 855-299-SOLD. 855-299-SOLD. You can find them online. It is markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing. It is 824 on Nashville's Morning News. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
A cyber attack disrupting car dealerships around the nation. Coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
828, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So we're going to ask, Johnny, we're going to ask Chris Hand during the Gang of Four Amigos, what are his first signs of getting older? Because we've been asking that off and on all day long. People have some great ideas as to their first signs. You know, when your nose hair grows faster than the head on your hair, that is another one. The hair on your head, that's another one. Or when your ear hair grows faster than the hair on your head, that is another one. So
that's what I hear.
What?
Just constant rustling.
Yeah, that's the hair on your earlobe.
Trying to break free.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get me one of those little, one of those little mini razors, electric razors.
Sure. You know what? Your wife comes in for a nuzzle. She can actually floss her teeth.
Boy, there went breakfast.
Moving right along. 829, Nashville's Morning News. I thought that was funny. Nashville's Morning News.
Mandis.
USS. Now, listen, I hope that you never have to call United Structural Systems because that means that you don't have any issues with your foundation or your concrete. But if you do have problems, you need USS on your side. Now, this is the company that I do turn to for all things foundation, concrete, and waterproofing as well. I just had them out this month to fix some problems at my house. Now, we saw those classic signs that we had a problem with our foundation, the dreaded cracks in the bricks. Now, I had USS out. They gave me an estimate that I thought was fair. Then they did the work quickly and professionally. I was on their website over the weekend, and, you know, USS was named the top foundation construction services provider in 2023. That's right. And they have an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and yours truly. We guarantee our best. Call USS at 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855. As always, tell them Dan told you to reach out, USSTN.com.
8:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Iowa, people across 22 counties terrified after heavy rains and flash flooding and more than 250 water rescues over the weekend.
Anxious.
Yeah, they were
A lot of tears.
worried where they were going to go and where they were going to stay, I guess, more than anything.
Yeah, here in Nashville, Channel 4's Jordan James is covering the stabbing at the Exxon gas station on Smith Springs Road near Percy Priest Lake on Thursday. The victim saying it came out of nowhere.
He told officers that the suspect came from the woods and began attacking him. The two would end up getting in a fight, but during the process, he was stabbed more than 5 times in the head and neck area. This is believed to have been a random attack since the victim claims to not know the suspect. While he continues to be treated at the hospital, customers are left shaken by what took place.
Yeah, the victim, identified as Steven Sobolewski, is the bass player for the punk rock band Gloom Girl MFG. They had to cancel their first show of the new tour because of that attack. Car dealerships across the country say they can't conduct business as usual. Their software company, CDK Global, trying to get back online after a cyber attack last Wednesday. This is impacting at least 15,000 dealerships across the nation, including Ford, Stellantis, Hyundai, GM, confirming the hack, disrupting their maintenance and repairs, unable to process appointments or complete sales transactions. Some turning to pens and paper. And for prospective car buyers, it may mean delays with no immediate end in sight. Turning to sports.
And Tennessee forces a game 3. They win it 4-1.
Yeah, the Vols avenging the College World Series Game 1 loss against the Aggies. So now one of them will win its first national title in baseball when they meet tonight. The first pitch is at 6. All right. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Right now, let's check stocks. We are into the brand new trading week, and it looks like the Dow is going to start the day up 60 points. S&P is flat. NASDAQ is down 20. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 833 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, my friends at My Patriot Supply, they like to say that if you're not preparing, you're failing, and I actually agree with them. You know, every time you go on the internet, every time you read a newspaper, every time you look at the news, you realize that there's any number of things that can turn our lives into an absolute disaster. It can be foreign terrorism. It can be foreign governments. It can be our own government. It can be Mother Nature. But listen, my friends at My Patriot Supply, they've been helping folks since 2008, helping millions of Americans gear up for emergencies. And today, their popular 4-week emergency food kits, well, guess what? They are 50% off each one, as a matter of fact. So you want to buy a whole bunch, you want to stock up, then you can get $50 off of each one. They're also going to throw in free shipping as well. This is my friends at My Patriot Supply. Again, the 4-week emergency food kits, these are going to be $50 off of each one. Each food kit offers over 2,000 calories each and every day. Plus, with ultra-durable 4-layer packaging, it does last up to 25 years. Go to my website. It is preparewithmandis.com. Preparewithmandis.com and pick up those 4-week emergency food kits for $50 off each. That's preparewithmandis.com. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the Gang of Four Amigos. Brought to you by My Patriot Supply, preparewithmandis.com. Good morning, Johnny B. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Dan.
Ken Weaver's in the WTN newsroom. Good morning, Ken. And Chris Hand is here.
Good morning, boys. Yeah.
Hey, Ken, would you do me a favor?
Sure, Brother Dan.
That Joe Biden audio, will you play that? I want to do an experiment. That you have some Joe Biden audio that you've been playing all morning long. And it's kind of weird because when you play the audio, there's a different sound that comes into my head. Just play her audio.
10-4, Brother Dan.
Women put Joe Biden in the White House. Hey, and women are going to keep him there.
That's what her voice sounds like right there. When she says, women are gonna keep her.
Women put Joe Biden in the White House. Hey, and women are going to keep him there.
It's like the same tone.
Like a car alarm.
She sounds
a
like
siren.
She does. She sounds like a car alarm at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's Joe.
In fact, the car alarm sounds sexier.
You know what? I actually wanted to do it. I was looking for an hour. By the way, that's great comedy right there. I was looking for an hour for the right Joy Behar cut because that sounds almost as annoying as Joy Behar.
Is that an oxymoron? The right Joy Behar cut?
Yes, it is, actually. Because let's all be honest, there is no such thing as the right Joy Behar cut. Hey, we're doing a wacky radio bit today, Chris.
Perfect.
So, because that last thing that I tried wasn't enough of an epic fail. So this morning,
and 5 minutes before we got on the air, Dan came into the prep office. He says, "Raise the bar today. My show's been fire."
It's opposite day, the things I say. All right. Earlier, I actually lost my phone.
Yes.
I left my phone in the bathroom here at work.
Okay.
I've never done that before, and it's kind of like karma because I used to make fun of the old guy around the office who used to do that all the time.
Yep.
It's like, oh, yeah, his name wasn't John, but John's been in here because here's his phone, right?
Yeah.
That was like the joke. For the first time in my existence at WTN, I left my phone in the bathroom. And I was without it for like 90 minutes, and I believe that, number one, it's karma because I made fun of the old guy that used to do that. Now, guess what? I'm the old guy.
You're the old guy now.
So what is what's the first signs of getting old from a guy who's, what are you?
I'm 35.
You're 35. I hate you, man. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, what is the
walking upstairs and getting to the top and going, what did I come up here for?
Yeah, I see that.
That happens to me quite a bit.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, so your mind is always racing.
Yes.
That happens to me too. Other things that we were talking about was being on the phone while looking for your phone.
I haven't done that.
You haven't done that yet?
No.
All three of us have.
Yeah. I'll go a step further. I one time started stomping around cussing because I couldn't find the TV remote. Went to the bathroom and it was in my front pocket.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
What kind of pants do you have that you can fit a remote in your front pocket?
Well, it's utility shorts, and I got these utility pockets.
Utility shorts.
I just put things in them.
Another sign you're getting old, wearing utility shorts.
It's got my pills in one of the pockets, my back pills.
So when Ken's walking around, you can hear the pills going up and down, and you can always hear Ken just coming a mile away.
Those are just my everyday bells.
Okay, very good.
They ring for happiness.
All right, very good. Ding-a-ding-a-ling. We're talking about hair on your ear earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And
not a fan.
Not a fan?
Not a fan.
In fact, that's my first question to God. Why?
Why did you do that?
Exactly.
I once met a guy. I swear you could have braided the hair on his ears.
Really?
And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, I'm not looking forward to that. And it's like,
Well, I got to do this too for PSA because there was a listener. And by gosh, we love you guys. But one of you guys took a selfie, and it was not. Let me just say, somebody's got to talk to you about your nose hair.
Oh, no.
Goodness. Oh, it was bad. Oh.
Somebody took a selfie and they sent it in to us?
Well, they sent it was on social media.
Okay.
And it's bad.
Bad nose hair?
Oh, I wanted to. Okay, a different angle would have been good.
Let's be honest. You wanted to go up and just start pulling it out, didn't you, John?
No, I didn't. I wanted to look away.
Oh.
Dan Mandis and his jokes suck. 80-49.
Wow. Already. It's only Monday.
I know. It's going to be a rough week.
It is going to be a rough week. The critics are out.
Oh, that's all right. I don't care.
You should be like the ref at the middle school game. Like, you think you can do a better job?
Yeah.
Get down here.
Get down here.
An entire Middle Tennessee says, yeah, let us try. It's not a problem. I'll sleep in.
Man, I would hate to be an umpire at a Little League baseball game these days. Man.
I've done it, man. I was an umpire for like a game. Couple of innings, and I was like, I'm not doing this. People are yelling at me, and I
yeah, man.
Yeah, you want parents mad at you.
No, because they're psycho.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I've told the story of me umpiring, and I told you the story about when I was a score keeper. You know, I did the scoreboard.
Yeah.
And they thought, hey, he works in radio. He could run a scoreboard for football. And I don't understand football, right? So I got all these parents turning around and yelling at me in the scoreboard booth, and the referees are rolling their arms and all this kind of stuff and doing the whole X thing. I didn't understand what it all meant, and nobody was there to help me. And I thought they were gonna walk me to my car and beat me up. That's what it felt. They don't mess around in Texas.
So it was a typical radio gig. They didn't tell you anything of what you'd be doing.
That's exactly right.
Then had no one there to explain it to you.
Now I did figure out the winding of the arm means keep the clock going.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then doing that whole X thing means stop the clock.
Yeah.
That is all I know. So there you go. Chris.
How much did you get paid for that?
Nothing.
Got a firm handshake and
they
pat
got
on the back.
And they got what they paid for. Anyway, moving right along. What do you have for this?
Did you hear what the big event? There was a big event over the weekend in New York.
No.
Huge event.
Yeah?
Huge event.
Massive event, was it?
Massive, if you will.
Okay, bigly.
Morbidly big.
Morbidly massive.
It was Fat Beach Day.
All right.
Fat Beach Day.
Yeah, they had the event on Saturday. It was aimed at countering fat phobia and providing a welcoming space for overweight individuals.
Okay.
They did it at the beach so the fire marshal wouldn't shut the place down.
Fat phobia. Overcoming fat phobia. And that's somehow going to be accomplished by seeing morbidly obese people in bathing suits?
Yep.
And listen, whatever. I mean,
whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat, man. If you want to go out there and you want to, were skinny people allowed too?
I don't think so.
Well, that's just dumb then. So the skinny people are not allowed to go to the beach. If you want to combat fat phobia, then the overweight people have to be, seen by the skinny people.
And they should do some,
right?
They should do some things together, like character team building, like do the trust fall.
Yes.
The trust fall. I like it.
Yeah. The event was organized by Jordan Underwood, and she sought to create an environment where people could feel comfortable and accepted regardless of their size. She said, we're going through something culturally that is impacting us every day on an individual level and a systemic level. And we're really trying to open up space for people to be themselves.
Wow.
Unless you're skinny, then you're not allowed on the beach.
No, if you're beautiful, you stay away.
Okay, so I've got a question. Who do you think, how am I going to phrase this? Who do you think has a bigger issue with the other side? Do overweight people hate skinny people more, or do skinny people hate overweight people more? Like, I don't, like, because I've seen it both ways. Like, there are people that are bigger that will just, they're just really nasty towards skinny people. And then there's some skinny people who are really nasty towards overweight people. Now, I'm an equal opportunity offender. If I don't like somebody, I just, whatever. It doesn't have much to do with what they look like. It's more what they say. But I mean, I think this might be a lady thing, a woman thing, because women tend to have, they can be sort of catty.
Oh.
You should let me hang, aren't you, Chris? You should let me.
I've never heard.
Chris is like silent.
I've never heard that, actually.
You've never heard that, really?
No, these guys haven't heard it. You haven't heard that, right?
You
Dan's
guys
got a firm grip on that show this morning.
He's knee deep now.
Breaking ground.
All right. See, ladies, back me up here.
There we go.
Lindsay says the overweight people are more hostile. That's one.
The overweight people are more hostile.
That's what Lindsay says.
Okay.
I don't know. Please
dig a little deeper, brother.
Yeah,
Dan.
Nope. You know what? We're going to either sit here in silence or somebody else has to bring a topic.
Ladies are catty. Yeah.
Lena says, I'm definitely not like that. I know you're not like that, Lena. You're pretty cool. Oh, hey, by the way, is Lena and Lindsay and everybody else coming to our big event, the big debate watch party next Thursday, 3 to 8?
Good pivot.
Yeah, that was. And good save.
Well, nobody else was helping me. I had to figure something out.
It's going to be a huge event.
All sizes welcome.
Yes.
I mean, everybody is welcome.
It does not matter what you look like.
Yes, sir.
All right.
As long as you don't wear a Biden shirt.
No.
That'd be something, man.
Well,
that'd be bravery.
A Biden in handcuffs shirt would be appropriate.
Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, we'll take that.
Biden behind bars.
Hunter with a crack pipe in his mouth.
Now, I wanted to wear shorts, and Amy told me that would be unprofessional.
Really?
Yeah. I said, honey, it's going to be like 1,000 degrees out there.
Yeah, it's going to be warm.
She said she didn't care. It would be unprofessional to show my knobby knees.
Did she describe them as knobby? Was that her descriptor?
I think she did. Yeah, she has said in the past I have knobby knees.
Okay.
So, which I don't believe they're knobby myself, but whatever.
It's funny because my wife this morning, we were talking about what I was going to wear. She's like, you should wear those blue shorts. So I'm actually going unprofessional.
Listen, I have not actually said to my wife that I was going to acquiesce to her demands that I be professional. I may just wear shorts and I may wear Crocs too.
Oh
boy, you're really going.
The Crocs are going to be a bold statement.
I was joking earlier with some socks. Yeah, I'll do Crocs and socks.
You don't want to get the speckled toes from the sun.
No, we wouldn't want that.
Speckled
now, would
toes.
We? Anyway, everybody's excited about
Freckles
this.
on your toes.
Hop Springs. Now, last time I was at Hop Springs, it was when Biden won the election.
Oh.
And it was freezing cold. And so now I'm going to be out there for this debate party, and it's going to be hot. Really hot.
Yeah, it's going to be warm.
Now, I don't know if do you know if it's inside or outside?
I think we got a 50-50.
You get 50-50?
Yeah, because the overflow goes outside.
Okay, so we'll be inside.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Because back in November, God, it was such a train wreck. So last time we did this years ago, I think Hop Springs had just opened.
Okay.
And it was really cold. I mean, it was like freezing. And so they said, hey, don't worry about it. We've got generators. The generators were so loud that we had to turn them off, the heaters.
Oh, no.
So we had to turn them off. And so I had to be out there freezing in the elements for a couple of hours. And that was rough.
Did you regret wearing your Crocs to that event?
Did not wear the Crocs to that event. I was bundled up. Some nice lady actually. How cold and pathetic was I? Somebody actually gave me a blanket.
Oh,
it's very nice. I almost started crying because I was there. Oh my God! Thank you so much for the blanket. But that blanket, by the way, still sits on my bed.
Did you?
It's a sign that not all humanity is lost.
Did you go full ET and have it over your head too?
I did actually. Right. Somebody's got a picture of me doing that full ET. Although I considered it Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Okay,
that's how I thought.
It's a little bit more based.
Use the Force, bandit.
That's exactly right.
Don't go on the floor.
No, I'm excited. I've been telling everybody, come to Hop Springs.
Yeah? What do people say?
It's going to be a blast.
People say they're going to come?
I say, well, let's think about it.
Please come.
Listen, I love Murfreesboro, and I love Hop Springs, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited. I got a bunch of neighbors coming. We got friends coming.
It is free.
It's going to be a blast.
There's lots of room to move around out there, too. And
there is.
And I don't know about this particular event, but I do know they are pet friendly.
They are.
Pet friendly? Okay, well.
Yeah. Dog friendly. No cats on leashes, please.
Or turtle keats.
No, I'll leave Bandit at home. Thank you very much.
All right, perfect.
Yes. All right, very good. What's coming up after the news?
Well, we're going to talk about the Trump VP decision. Trump said he's made a decision. I have an idea on who it is.
Who do you think it is?
It's going to be Burgum.
I think it's going to be Burgum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he was non-committal this weekend.
Yep, I have that audio as well.
All right, good. All right, anything else?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the debate, and we're going to talk about Joe Biden's prep. Plus, if you missed it on Real Time with Bill Maher, Governor Cuomo, former Governor Cuomo of New York, he said that Trump would have never been charged if his name wasn't Trump and he was running for president.
Did you hear finally Snopes has been
yes, I did.
fact-checked?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait. I'm going to cover that. This is the same organization that was started by a guy with a neck beard, his wife, and a cat.
Yes.
And then he divorced the wife.
Yep.
Kept the neck beard, got a new wife. Cat's in charge of most things.
And yet, oddly, both wives allowed him to keep the neck beard.
And the cat.
All right, 8:53, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Chris Hand is next. Well, let me tell you something. Cove Generators is my generator company right now. They have a great deal just for listeners to my show. You're going to get a free upgraded 10-year warranty, $500 off when you mention my name, Dan Mandis. Now, Cove Generators, they are your premier Generac home standby generator dealer in the state of Tennessee. Call my buddy Generator Dave. He's going to answer all your questions before the purchase, during the purchase, and after the purchase as well. You need a backup home standby generator in your life. And remember that great deal, a free upgraded 10-year warranty and $500 off. When you mention my name, that is a deal you're not going to find anywhere else but at Cove Generators. They also offer you financing so that you can be ready for the next power outage. Remember, that free upgraded 10-year warranty, $500 off when you mention me and WTN. Find them online. It is covegenerators.com, and never lose power again. Call them 931-559-3311, 931-559-3311, covegenerators.com. Terms and conditions may apply. Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.